Have you ever walked through a deep forest at night, or perhaps sat alone by the ocean under a canopy of stars, and felt a strange sensation that you were not truly alone? I do not mean the presence of another person or an animal, but a deeper, more profound feeling that the space around you was somehow aware, that the wind moving through the trees was like a breath, that the rhythm of the tides was like a heartbeat, and that the silence of the night sky was not an emptiness, but a presence waiting to be understood. We often look at the universe as a vast, cold, and mechanical place. We are taught in school that space is a vacuum, that stars are simply balls of burning gas, and that galaxies are just collections of dead matter swirling according to the laws of gravity. We are told that life is a rare accident, a tiny spark flickering on a lonely rock in the middle of an infinite dark ocean. But what if that story is wrong? What if the universe is not a machine, but a body? What if the cosmos is not a collection of dead objects, but a living, breathing, thinking entity, and we are simply cells within its colossal mind? This is not just a poetic flight of fancy or a comforting story to help us sleep. This is a question that is currently occupying some of the most brilliant minds in astrophysics, neuroscience, and cosmology. Tonight, I want to take you on a gentle journey into one of the most daring and beautiful theories in modern science. It is a journey that will take us from the microscopic firing of neurons in your brain to the grandest structures of the cosmic web, spanning billions of light years. We will explore the possibility that the universe itself is alive. As we begin this exploration, I want you to let go of the stress of your day. Let your shoulders drop, let your breathing slow down, and let your mind expand to the edges of the visible cosmos. Imagine for a moment that you are floating in the deep silence of intergalactic space, far away from the noise of Earth, far away from the worries of human life. You're surrounded by darkness, but as your eyes adjust, you see that the darkness is alive with light. You see galaxies glowing like bioluminescent creatures in a deep sea. You see filaments of gas stretching across the void like the delicate veins of a leaf or the complex wiring of a nervous system. In this quiet place, we can ask the big questions. We can wonder about the nature of reality itself. For centuries, the dominant view of the universe was mechanistic. Thinkers like Isaac Newton described the cosmos as a grand clockwork mechanism. In this view, God was the clockmaker who wound it up and let it run. The planets moved in their orbits like gears, the stars burned like lamps, and everything followed precise, predictable laws. It was a universe of certainty, a rigid cause and effect, where matter was dead and only the laws of physics were eternal. But as our telescopes have grown larger and our instruments more sensitive, this mechanical picture has begun to fray at the edges. We have discovered that the universe is far more complex, far more interconnected, and far more dynamic than a simple clock. We have found that it evolves, that it changes, that it gives birth to new structures and destroys old ones in a cycle that looks suspiciously like a life cycle. Consider the sheer scale of what we are talking about. The observable universe is a sphere roughly 93 billion light-years across. It contains approximately 2 trillion galaxies. Each of those galaxies contains hundreds of billions of stars, and around those stars orbit countless planets. The numbers are so vast that they become meaningless to our human brains. We cannot truly comprehend what a trillion is, let alone 2 trillion galaxies. But try to feel the weight of that scale. Try to feel the sheer amount of matter and energy existing out there in the dark. Now, here is where the mystery begins to deepen. When astronomers began to map the positions of these galaxies, they expected to find them scattered randomly, or perhaps arranged in simple clusters. But that is not what they found. When we look at the large-scale structure of the universe, we see something that looks startlingly organic. Galaxies are not scattered randomly like dust. They are arranged in a vast, intricate network that astronomers call the cosmic web. This web consists of long filaments of dark matter and gas, stretching for hundreds of millions of light years. Galaxies cluster along these filaments, like pearls on a string. Where the filaments cross, we find massive superclusters of galaxies, glowing nodes of light and gravity. And between the filaments, there are enormous voids, vast bubbles of emptiness where almost nothing exists. If you were to look at a computer simulation of this cosmic web, showing the structure of the universe on its largest scales, and then place it next to a microscope image of a mouse's brain cells, you might gasp. They look nearly identical. The visual similarity is so striking that it has led scientists to investigate whether it is more than just a coincidence. In a study published in the journal Frontiers in Physics, an astrophysicist from the University of Bologna and a neurosurgeon from the University of Verona compared the network of neuronal cells in the human brain with the cosmic network of galaxies. Their findings were profound. They found that despite the difference in scale, one measured in micrometers, the other in billions of light years, the physical structure of these two networks is mathematically similar. The way nodes connect to other nodes, the ratio of mass to empty space, the way information and energy flow through the system. All of these properties echo each other across the vast chasm of scale. In the human brain, we have roughly 86 billion neurons. In the observable universe, we have roughly 100 billion galaxies, a number that has been refined over the years, but remains in the same order of magnitude. In the brain, neurons are connected by axons and dendrites, long filaments that allow electrical signals to pass between them. In the universe, galaxies are connected by filaments of dark matter and intergalactic gas, allowing gravity and radiation to influence widely separated regions. In the brain, about 77% of the mass is water. In the universe, about 73% of the energy density is dark energy. The parallels are eerie. They suggest a recurring pattern in nature, a fundamental blueprint for complexity that repeats itself from the very small to the very large. But does looking like a brain mean the universe acts like a brain? This is the question that invites us to look deeper. A rock can look like a face, but it is not a face. A cloud can look like a dragon, but it is not a dragon. Is the resemblance between the cosmos and a neural network just a trick of gravity? Or is it a sign of something more? To answer this, we must look at what it means to be alive. Biology gives us a list of criteria. Living things grow, they reproduce, they metabolize energy, they respond to their environment, and they maintain homeostasis. At first glance, the universe seems to fail these tests. It doesn't eat, it doesn't breathe, it doesn't have babies, or does it? Let us look closer at the life cycle of the cosmos. We know the universe is growing. In fact, it is expanding. Every second of every day, the space between galaxies is stretching, carrying them farther apart. This expansion has been happening for 13.8 billion years, ever since the moment of the Big Bang. In the early universe, everything was hot, dense, and uniform. It was like a single fertilized egg, packed with potential, but without structure. As time passed, the universe cooled and differentiated. It grew complex, Gravity pulled matter together to form the first stars, then the first galaxies. Elements were forged in the hearts of those stars: carbon, oxygen, iron, the very building blocks of life. These elements were scattered and reformed into planets, and eventually into us. This process of increasing complexity looks remarkably like the development of an organism. A seed planted in the ground starts as a simple packet of genetic material, but as it draws energy from the sun and nutrients from the soil, it grows into a complex structure of roots, stems, leaves, and flowers. It takes simple raw materials and organizes them into a sophisticated system. The universe has done exactly the same thing. It started as a soup of simple particles and has organized itself into galaxies, stars, planets, and people. It has used the energy of the Big Bang and the force of gravity to build structure out of chaos. If you were watching a time-lapse video of the universe spanning billions of years, it would look like an unfolding flower or a developing embryo. It is a process of becoming. And what about metabolism? Living things take in energy and transform it. Stars do exactly this. They are the metabolic engines of the cosmos. A star takes simple hydrogen atoms and fuses them together to create helium, releasing vast amounts of energy in the process. This energy flows out into the universe, driving the weather on planets, powering the photosynthesis of plants, and warming the backs of lizards on rocks. The universe is filled with these energy flows. It is a dynamic system of transformation where matter becomes energy and energy becomes matter over and over again. Black holes, too, play a role in this cosmic metabolism. For a long time, we thought of black holes as destructors, monsters that simply devoured everything. But we now know they are crucial to the health of galaxies. They regulate the formation of stars, spitting out jets of energy that heat up the surrounding gas and prevent the galaxy from growing too fast. They act like regulatory mechanisms in a cell, maintaining a balance. This idea that the universe functions like a biological system is known as the biocosm theory, or sometimes organicism. It is an ancient idea that has been given new life by modern data. The Stoics of ancient Greece believed the universe was a single living body, breathing and rational. Indigenous cultures around the world have long held that the land, the sky, and the stars are all part of a living family. Now, science is circling back to this wisdom, armed with supercomputers and space telescopes. We are finding that the intuition of our ancestors, that feeling you get in the forest at night, might be more accurate than the mechanical models of the industrial age. But there is a deeper layer to this mystery, one that touches on the very nature of consciousness itself. If the universe looks like a brain and grows like an organism, could it also be conscious? Could it be thinking? This brings us to a philosophy called panpsychism. Panpsychism is the idea that consciousness is not something that just happens in human brains, but is a fundamental property of matter, like mass or electrical charge. It suggests that everything has a tiny spark of inner experience. An electron might have a very simple form of consciousness, just a vague flicker of being. A rock might have a slightly more complex collection of these flickers, but without any organization. A human brain, because it is so highly organized and interconnected, combines these sparks into the rich, unified consciousness we experience every day. If panpsychism is true, then the universe itself, with its vast complexity and interconnected web of galaxies, might possess a form of consciousness that dwarfs our own. It might be thinking thoughts that take billions of years to unfold. Its neurons are galaxies, its electrical signals are cosmic rays and gravity waves, and its moments are measured in eons. We might be like individual neurons in your brain, unaware of the greater mind we are part of. A single neuron does not know it is part of a person who is falling in love, or solving a math problem, or remembering a childhood sunset. It just fires its signal when it receives a stimulus. It does its job. But together, billions of neurons create the symphony of human experience. Perhaps we are doing the same for the cosmos. Perhaps our lives, our struggles, our joys, and our discoveries are tiny electrical impulses contributing to a thought in the mind of the universe. This perspective changes everything. It changes how we feel when we look up at the night sky. It changes how we feel about our own isolation. If the universe is alive, we are never truly alone. We are part of a living whole, connected to the stars and the galaxies by bonds of gravity and energy, and, perhaps, consciousness. The silence of space is not the silence of the dead. It is the silence of a mind deep in thought. It is a quiet, gentle presence that holds us, just as the ocean holds the fish or the forest holds the trees. As we continue this journey tonight, we will explore the specific scientific evidence that supports these mind-bending ideas. We will look at how the universe creates complexity, how it fine-tunes itself for life, and how quantum physics suggests that the observer and the observed are inextricably linked. We will travel to the event horizons of black holes and the nurseries of newborn stars. We will ask what it means to be a part of a universe that might be a whole in a way we never imagined. And through it all, we will return to that feeling, that sense of wonder and connection that tells us deep in our bones that we belong here, that we are home. So take a deep breath. Inhale the air that was once inside a star. Exhale the carbon that will one day be part of a flower or a mountain. Feel the gravity that pins you to the earth, the same gravity that binds the Milky Way to the Andromeda galaxy. Feel the rhythm of your own heart, a small echo of the great cosmic rhythm. We are about to step off the edge of the known map and venture into the wild, beautiful, and mysterious territory of a living universe. The journey is just beginning, and there is so much more to discover in the dark, quiet reaches of the cosmos. As we drift deeper into this quiet night, floating together in the imaginary void of space, I want you to hold on to that feeling of connection we discovered. The feeling that the universe is not a cold, dead room where we just happen to find ourselves, but a warm, breathing body that we are inextricably part of. If the universe is indeed alive, as the biocosm theory suggests, then it must have a biology. It must have an anatomy. Just as your body has a skeletal system to hold you up, a circulatory system to move energy, and a genetic code to define who you are, the universe has its own fundamental laws that act as its DNA. Tonight, in this second chapter of our journey, we are going to look closely at this cosmic DNA. We are going to examine the strange and beautiful precision that allows the universe to exist at all. And as we do, we will find ourselves confronting a mystery so deep that it has kept physicists awake at night for decades. It is the mystery of the fine-tuning, the uncanny fact that the cosmos seems to have been perfectly constructed to allow for the existence of life. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in a vast, dark control room. This is the engine room of reality. Before you lies a colossal mixing board, like the kind you might see in a recording studio, but this one stretches out infinitely to your left and to your right. On this board are hundreds of dials, sliders, and switches. Each one of these controls represents a fundamental constant of nature. One dial controls the strength of gravity. Another controls the weight of an electron. A third controls the force that holds the nucleus of an atom together. A fourth controls the speed of light. Physicists tell us that the values of these settings, the exact numbers that these dials are set to, determine everything about the universe we live in. They determine whether stars can burn, whether atoms can bond, whether carbon can form, and whether time can flow. Now, here's the part that should make you pause in wonder. If you were to walk up to this control board and turn any single one of those dials just a fraction of a hair's breadth to the left or to the right, the entire universe as we know it would cease to exist. It would not just be different. It would be dead. It would be a sterile wasteland where life, consciousness, and even simple chemistry would be impossible. Let us look at the dial labeled gravity. Gravity is the force that pulls matter together. It is the architect of the cosmos, gathering gas into clouds, collapsing clouds into stars, and binding stars into galaxies. If the force of gravity were just a tiny bit stronger, imagine turning that dial just a single click to the right. Stars would burn through their fuel in a catastrophic rush. They would live for only a few million years instead of billions. They would be too hot, too unstable, and they would die long before life could ever evolve on any planets orbiting them. The universe would be a fireworks display, a brief flash of brilliance followed by eternal darkness. But what if we turned the gravity dial a tiny bit to the left? What if we made gravity slightly weaker? Then matter would never clump together at all. The clouds of primordial gas created in the Big Bang would simply drift apart forever. No stars would ignite. No galaxies would form. The universe would be a cold, thin soup of hydrogen atoms floating in the dark, never touching, never combining, never becoming anything more. There would be no warmth, no light, and certainly no us. The setting for gravity is balanced on a razor's edge, exactly in the narrow window that allows for stable, long-burning stars like our sun. It is a precision that defies simple luck. It feels intentional. It feels like the homeostasis of a living organism. Think about your own body for a moment. Right now, without you having to think about it, your body is maintaining a temperature of roughly 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. If your temperature drops a few degrees, you get hypothermia and die. If it rises a few degrees, you get a fever and die. Your body constantly adjusts, sweating to cool down or shivering to warm up, keeping you in that narrow, survivable window. This is homeostasis, the ability of a living system to regulate its internal environment. When we look at the fine-tuning of the universe's constants, are we looking at cosmic luck, or are we looking at cosmic homeostasis? Is the universe keeping its gravity just right? Because that is what it needs to survive and grow. Let us move to another dial on our imaginary control board, the one labeled strong nuclear force. This is the force that glues protons and neutrons together in the center of an atom. It is the force that allows solid matter to exist. If this force were just 2% stronger, hydrogen would fuse into helium so incredibly fast that all the hydrogen in the universe would have been consumed in the first few minutes after the Big Bang. There would be no water, which is 2 parts hydrogen. There would be no long-burning stars, which run on hydrogen fuel. The universe would be made entirely of helium, a chemically inert gas that cannot form molecules. A helium universe is a dead universe. But if we turn the dial the other way, making the strong nuclear force just a tiny bit weaker, protons and neutrons would not stick together at all. Hydrogen would be the only element in the cosmos. There would be no carbon, No oxygen, no nitrogen, no iron. Just a vast, lonely expanse of simple hydrogen gas. Again, the dial is set exactly where it needs to be to allow for complexity. Perhaps the most famous example of this fine-tuning involves the element that makes you possible: carbon. You are a carbon-based life form. Every cell in your body, every protein, every strand of DNA relies on the unique ability of carbon atoms to form complex chains. But carbon is not easy to make. It has to be forged in the crushing heat of a dying star, where 3 helium nuclei smash together to fuse into one carbon nucleus. For a long time, physicists could not understand how this happened. The math said it was extremely unlikely, almost impossible, for 3 helium atoms to hit each other at the exact same moment, with the exact right energy. It was like trying to throw 3 darts at a board and having them all hit the tip of the same needle simultaneously. Then, in the 1950s, the astrophysicist Fred Hoyle made a prediction. He said that for carbon to exist in the amounts we see, the carbon nucleus must have a specific energy level, a resonance, that matches the combined energy of 3 helium nuclei. He predicted this resonance state existed simply because we exist. If it didn't exist, we wouldn't be here to ask the question. He urged experimental physicists to look for it. And when they did, they found it. It was exactly where Hoyle said it would be. This discovery shook Hoyle to his core. He was an atheist, but he later wrote that it looked as if a super-intellect has monkeyed with physics. He said the universe looked like a put-up job. But biocosm theory offers a different explanation. It suggests that this resonance isn't the work of a distant god, nor a random accident. It is a biological adaptation. Just as your blood has evolved to carry oxygen efficiently, the universe has evolved to create carbon efficiently. Why? Because carbon is the key to complexity. Carbon is the key to life. And if the universe is a living system, it wants to create life. This brings us to one of the most fascinating and controversial ideas in modern cosmology: the theory of cosmological natural selection. Proposed by the theoretical physicist Lee Smolin, this theory takes the idea of a living universe and applies the principles of Darwinian evolution to it. Smolin asked a simple question: how do universes reproduce? If the universe is alive, it should have a way of making babies. His answer was black holes. We usually think of black holes as dead ends, as drains where matter disappears. But in Smolin's theory, the singularity at the center of a black hole, that point of infinite density, is actually the seed of a new universe. When a star collapses and forms a black hole, it might be birthing a baby universe on the other side, expanding out into its own separate dimension. Now, follow the logic of evolution here. In biology, organisms that are better at reproducing pass on their genes. If universes reproduce through black holes, then a universe that is good at making black holes will have more children. And what does a universe need to make black holes? It needs enormous stars that collapse. It needs gravity that is strong enough to crush them. It needs a specific set of physical laws. Smolin calculated that the very same laws that are perfect for making black holes are also the laws that are perfect for creating carbon and oxygen. The conditions for reproduction, black holes, and the conditions for life, chemistry, are almost identical. This suggests that our universe might be the result of a long cosmic lineage. Perhaps billions of generations of universes came before ours. The early ones might have been simple, short-lived, and unable to reproduce. But over eons of cosmic time, through a process of natural selection, universes evolved. They learned to fine-tune their dials. They developed the physical constants that maximize their ability to create stars, black holes, and complex chemistry. We are living in a highly evolved universe, a masterpiece of cosmic engineering that has been honed by countless generations of ancestors. We are not the lucky winners of a lottery. We are the heirs to a vast evolutionary legacy. Does this thought not make you feel a sense of kinship with a deep past? Does it not make the cold vacuum of space feel a little more fertile? If this theory is true, then every black hole we detect, and there are millions of them, is a nursery. Every time we see the shadow of a black hole, we are witnessing the birth of a new reality, a new experiment in existence, hidden from us by the event horizon, but growing just the same. The universe is teeming with reproduction, branching out into a fractal tree of realities that we can only imagine. But why life? Why us? If the universe just wants to make black holes to reproduce, why go to the trouble of making biological life forms on rocky planets? This is where the biocosm theory takes a step into the realm of the mind. A living organism is not just a machine for reproduction. It is also a system that senses, processes information, and becomes aware. Perhaps biological life is not a byproduct of the universe, but its sensory organ. Maybe we are the eyes of the cosmos. Maybe we are the way the universe knows itself. Think about the development of a baby in the womb. For the first few months, it is just growing, developing its structure, forming its organs. It is alive, but it is not yet fully conscious of the world. Then, at a certain point, the eyes open. The brain begins to process light and sound. The organism wakes up. Perhaps the 13.8 billion years of cosmic history have been a gestation period. The universe has been growing, cooling, and organizing itself, building the galaxies and the stars, forging the carbon, and evolving the planets. And now, through us and perhaps countless other civilizations across the stars, the universe is opening its eyes. It is waking up. When you look through a telescope, you are the universe looking at itself. When you study the laws of physics, you are the universe understanding its own rules. When you feel awe at the beauty of a nebula, that is the universe feeling pleasure at its own beauty. We are not separate observers standing outside the glass looking in. We are the glass, the light, and the eye, all at once. We are the mechanism by which the cosmos achieves self-awareness. This idea dissolves the loneliness of the human condition. It tells us that our curiosity, our art, our science, and our philosophy are not just human hobbies. They are cosmic functions. We are doing the work of the universe. And this work requires a specific environment. It requires a universe that is stable, long-lived, and rich in chemical possibilities. It requires a universe where gravity is gentle enough to let stars shine for billions of years, giving evolution time to work its slow magic. It requires a universe where carbon resonates with helium. The fine-tuning we see is the result of the universe's need to wake up. It has sculpted its own laws to ensure that eventually, somewhere, a mind would emerge that could look back at the beginning and say, I am. So, as you lie there, feeling the pull of the Earth's gravity, remember that this force is not just a physical law. It is a loving embrace. It is a setting on the cosmic dashboard that has been calibrated with infinite care to hold you here, to keep your planet orbiting your sun, to keep your atmosphere from drifting away. The air you breathe is a mixture of gases that exists only because the strong nuclear force holds those atoms together. The blood in your veins is red because of iron that was forged in a star that lived and died so you could exist. You are a child of the fine-tuning. You are the result of a 13 billion-year effort to create a being capable of wonder. The silence of the room around you is filled with this invisible architecture. The laws of physics are not cage bars. They are the trellis upon which the vine of life grows. They are the supportive structure of a living, evolving entity that stretches further than we can see. And if the universe is indeed a body, and we are its cells, then what is its mind? Where does the consciousness of the cosmos reside? Is it distributed across the web of galaxies like a neural network, as we touched upon earlier? Or is there something even more profound happening in the hidden spaces in the quantum realm that underpins everything? As we prepare to move deeper into this mystery, let your mind rest on the idea of the Goldilocks universe. Not too hot, not too cold, not too dense, not too empty. Just right. Perfect for you, perfect for life. This perfection is not an accident. It is the signature of the living cosmos. It is the evidence that we are part of something that wants us to be here. In the next chapter of our journey, we will dive into the microscopic world, the world of the quantum, to see how the universe might actually be thinking, and how the very act of observation might be weaving reality together moment by moment. For now, simply drift in the safety of this perfectly tuned reality, held by the gentle hands of gravity, warmed by the fusion of stars, and comforted by the knowledge that you are exactly where you are meant to be. As we float here in the velvet darkness of our imagination, surrounded by the silent symphony of the stars, let us turn our gaze inward. We have looked at the colossal structures of the cosmic web, spanning billions of light years. We have marveled at the fine-tuning of the physical laws that hold the galaxies together. Now, I want you to look at your own hand. Hold it up in front of your mind's eye. It looks solid, doesn't it? It feels warm, substantial, and real. You can touch your fingers together and feel the pressure. It seems like a continuous piece of matter, stable and unchanging. But if we could zoom in, if we could travel down into the microscopic cathedral of your own flesh, we would find that this solidity is an illusion. We would find a world that is mostly empty space, a world where particles pop in and out of existence like ghosts, and where the very act of looking changes what is there. This is the quantum realm, the basement level of reality, and it is here that the mystery of the living universe becomes truly personal. Tonight, we are going to explore the idea that the universe is not just a body, but a mind, and that your mind, the very consciousness that is hearing these words right now, is not separate from it. We are going to explore the possibility that thinking is a cosmic act, and that by simply being aware, you're helping to weave the fabric of reality itself. To understand this, we must first let go of our common sense. In our everyday world, things are simple. A cup is a cup. It sits on the table whether you're looking at it or not. If you leave the room, the cup stays there. But in the world of the quantum, things are not so polite. In the quantum world, a particle, like an electron or a photon of light, does not have a fixed location. It does not sit still. Instead, it exists as a wave of possibility. It is here, and it is there, and it is everywhere in between, all at once. It is a shimmering cloud of maybe. This isn't just a theory. It is a fact that has been proven in laboratories for over 100 years. The most famous demonstration of this is the double-slit experiment. Imagine a wall with 2 vertical slits cut into it. Now, imagine firing tiny pellets like marbles at that wall. Some marbles would go through the left slit, some through the right, and they would hit the screen behind the wall in two neat piles. Simple. But when physicists fire electrons at the wall, something strange happens. Instead of two piles, they see an interference pattern, a series of stripes, like ripples in a pond intersecting each other. This means the electron didn't go through one slit or the other. It went through both slits at the same time. It acted like a wave, flowing through both openings and interfering with itself on the other side. But here is the twist that keeps scientists awake at night. If the physicists put a detector, a mechanical eye, by the slits to see which one the electron actually goes through, the wave behavior stops instantly. The electron snaps back into being a particle. It goes through just one slit, and the interference pattern disappears. It behaves like a marble again. It is as if the electron knows it is being watched. It is as if the act of observation forces the universe to make up its mind. Before the observation, the electron was a ghost of infinite possibilities. After the observation, it became a single, solid reality. This phenomenon is called the collapse of the wave function, and it implies something profound about the nature of our cosmos, that the observer is not separate from the observed, that without an eye to see it, the universe might just be a haze of potential, waiting for someone to look. The legendary physicist John Archibald Wheeler, a giant of 20th century science who worked with Einstein and Bohr, took this idea to its ultimate conclusion. He proposed that we live in a participatory universe. He drew a famous diagram that shows the universe as a giant U shape. At one end of the U is the Big Bang. At the other end is a giant eye, looking back at the beginning. Wheeler suggested that the universe requires an observer to exist. He argued that the universe begins as a cloud of probability, evolving through billions of years of cosmic time, until it produces conscious beings, us. And when we look back at the universe, when we measure the light from distant stars, when we study the cosmic microwave background, our act of observation travels back through time and solidifies the past. We are not just passive inhabitants of the cosmos. We are its co-creators. By looking at the stars, we are making them real. This sounds like magic, but it is the logical endpoint of quantum mechanics. It suggests that consciousness is a fundamental ingredient of the universe, just like gravity or electromagnetism. But for a long time, scientists were uncomfortable with this. They preferred to think of the brain as a biological computer, a wet machine made of neurons and synapses that just processes information like a calculator. They tried to keep the weirdness of quantum mechanics out of biology. They said the brain was too warm, too wet, and too messy for delicate quantum effects to happen. They said quantum states would decohere or collapse instantly in the chaotic environment of the skull. But recently, a bold new theory has emerged that challenges this dismissal. A theory that connects the microscopic structures in your brain directly to the fabric of space-time. This theory is called orchestrated objective reduction, or ORC-OR for short. It was developed by the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Sir Roger Penrose and the anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. They looked deep inside the neurons of the brain, past the synapses and the chemical neurotransmitters, down into the structural skeleton of the cells. There, they found microscopic tubes called microtubules. These tiny structures are like the scaffolding of the cell, giving it shape. But Penrose and Hameroff suggest they are much more than that. They believe microtubules are quantum computers. They propose that inside these tubes, isolated from the noise of the rest of the brain, electrons are dancing in quantum superposition. They are existing in multiple states at once, vibrating in harmony with the quantum laws of the universe. According to this theory, a moment of consciousness, a thought, a feeling, a perception of the color blue, occurs when these quantum superpositions collapse. But they do not collapse because of a detector, they collapse because of gravity. Penrose suggests that every time a quantum state collapses, it is a ripple in the very geometry of space-time. It is a tiny blip of proto-consciousness. In the void of space, these blips are random and disconnected. But inside your brain, the microtubules orchestrate these collapses. They synchronize millions of them every second, weaving them together into the rich, continuous flow of awareness that you feel as you. If this is true, then your brain is not a computer. It is a quantum antenna. It is an instrument tuned to the music of the universe. The consciousness you experience is not something generated inside your skull like steam from an engine. It is a localized ripple in the fundamental field of the cosmos. You're tapping into the same process that governs the black holes and the stars. When you think, you are thinking with the universe. When you feel, you are feeling the vibrations of space-time itself. The boundary between in here and out there dissolves completely. Let us sit with that for a moment in the silence. Imagine your brain glowing with this quantum light. Imagine the billions of microtubules inside your neurons, humming like tiny crystal flutes. They are catching the waves of possibility that permeate the cosmos and collapsing them into the reality of this moment. You are a loom, weaving the threads of the quantum void into the tapestry of the present. This gives a whole new meaning to the idea of the living universe. It is not just that the universe looks like a brain on the largest scales. It is that the universe is thinking through us. We are the aperture through which the cosmos perceives itself. This connection goes even deeper. Some experiments suggest that this quantum connection might transcend space and time entirely. We have seen particles that are entangled, meaning they are linked in such a way that if you tickle one, the other laughs, even if they are on opposite sides of the universe. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. If the matter in our brains was forged in the Big Bang, entangled with matter that is now spread across billions of light years, could there be a subtle, invisible connection between us and the rest of the cosmos? Could this explain that feeling of being watched by the stars? Perhaps that feeling is just the resonance of our own entanglement, a faint echo of the time when all matter was one single point of infinite unity. There is a gentleness to this understanding. It takes away the pressure of being a separate, isolated ego, fighting against a hostile world. If you are a quantum process, then you are as natural as a cloud or a wave. Your thoughts are not intrusions into the silence. They are part of the silence expressing itself. The anxiety and the stress we feel often come from the belief that we are small, fragile things in a universe that doesn't care. But quantum mechanics whispers a different story. It says that the universe cares very much, because without you, it might not even be fully real. You are the witness that the cosmos has spent 13.8 billion years evolving. You are the way the universe turns maybe into is. Think about the implications for death. In the mechanical view, death is the machine turning off. The computer breaks, the screen goes black, and the data is lost. But in the quantum view, information is never truly lost. Quantum information cannot be destroyed. It can only change form. If your consciousness is a pattern in the geometry of space-time, does it simply dissipate when the microtubules stop vibrating? Or does it return to the fundamental field like a drop of water returning to the ocean? Does the proto-consciousness that was organized into you simply expand back into the universe? Penrose and Hameroff have speculated that this might be the case, that the quantum information of the soul might leak back into the cosmos at the moment of death, rejoining the greater mind from which it came. This connects beautifully with the experiences of astronauts who have seen the Earth from space. They often report a cognitive shift called the overview effect. When they see the planet hanging in the void, fragile and blue, they feel an overwhelming sense of unity and connectedness. They feel that the borders and divisions on the map are illusions. They feel a sudden, intuitive understanding that the Earth is a single living system. Perhaps they are experiencing a macroscopic version of what happens in the quantum realm. They are seeing the superposition of humanity, all our wars, all our loves, all our history, collapsed into a single, beautiful object. They are seeing the reality of our interdependence. As we float here, let us try to feel this quantum hum in our own bodies. Close your eyes in the darkness of your room. Feel the surface of your skin. It feels like a boundary, a wall that separates you from the air. But remember the atoms. Remember the electrons dancing in their clouds of probability. Your skin is not a wall. It is a mist. It is a dynamic interface where your atoms are constantly exchanging energy with the atoms of the room. You are breathing in the universe, and the universe is breathing into you. Every time you inhale, you are taking in trillions of atoms that have traveled across the globe, some of which may have once been part of Caesar, or the Buddha, or a dinosaur. Every time you exhale, you are giving a part of yourself back to the wind. The Orkor theory and the participatory universe give us a scientific language for the mystical experience. They tell us that the intuition of the mystics, that all is one, is not just poetry. It is physics. The separation between the observer and the observed is a convenient fiction for our daily lives, but it is not the fundamental truth. The truth is that there is only one observer looking out through billions of eyes. There is only one thinker thinking billions of thoughts. The universe is a single, vast, interconnected web of experience, collapsing possibility into reality, moment by moment, breath by breath. This perspective invites us to live with more intention. If your observation affects reality, then how you look at the world matters. If you look at the world with fear, you might be collapsing a reality of danger. If you look at the world with love, you might be collapsing a reality of connection. We are not just watching the movie, we are directing it. We are the hands of the universe, shaping the clay of quantum potential. This is a responsibility, yes, but it is also a tremendous gift. It means you have power. It means you are a participant in the unfolding of the cosmic story. And as we consider the unfolding of this story, we must ask, what is the medium in which this story is written? We have talked about space, and we have talked about matter. But there is another dimension we have not yet explored, a dimension that flows like a river and yet stands still like a frozen landscape. I am talking about time. If the universe is alive, does it experience time the way we do? Does it have a past and a future? Or does it live in an eternal now? Is time a fundamental part of the cosmic biology? Or is it an illusion created by our limited brains? In the next chapter of our journey, we will step into the river of time. We will ask whether the future already exists, waiting for us to arrive. We will explore the idea that the universe might be remembering everything that has ever happened, storing it in a holographic record at the edge of reality. We will look at the concept of block time, where the dinosaurs are still alive in the past and your great-grandchildren are already walking in the future. But for now, rest in the quantum present. Rest in the knowledge that you are a vital, vibrating part of the cosmic mind. Rest in the gentle certainty that you are the universe waking up to its own beauty. The observation has been made. The wave function has collapsed. You're here, and you're real. Welcome back to the silence. As we continue to drift through this vast imaginary void, I want you to notice something about the nature of our journey. We have been moving from the incomprehensibly large structures of the cosmic web down to the impossibly small vibrations of the quantum realm. We have explored the body of the universe and the mind of the universe. But there is one dimension we have not yet truly touched, a dimension that feels more personal to us than any star or atom. It is the dimension that governs every beat of your heart, every breath you take, and every memory you hold dear. I am speaking, of course, of time. We intuitively feel that time is a river. We feel it flowing. We feel the past slipping away behind us like the wake of a ship, disappearing into a fog of memory. We feel the future rushing toward us like an open ocean, full of uncertainty and potential. And we feel the present moment, this exact second right now, as the only thing that is truly real. We believe that the past is gone and the future has not happened yet. This is how we survive. This is how our brains are wired to perceive the world. But modern physics suggests that this feeling, this sensation of a flowing time, might be the greatest illusion of all. Tonight, in this third chapter of our exploration into the living universe, we are going to challenge the very foundation of your experience. We are going to look at the universe not as a three-dimensional object changing over time, but as a four-dimensional object where time is just another direction, like north or south. We are going to explore the concept of the block universe, a theory that suggests that the past, the present, and the future are all equally real, existing simultaneously in a vast frozen crystal of eternity. And we are going to ask, if the universe is alive, does it remember everything? Is the past still happening somewhere in the cosmic memory? And is the future already written, waiting for us to arrive? To understand this, we have to go back to the year 1915, to the mind of Albert Einstein. Before Einstein, we thought of space and time as separate things. Space was the stage where events happened, and time was the clock on the wall that ticked forward at the same rate for everyone, everywhere. But Einstein realized that this was wrong. He discovered that space and time are woven together into a single fabric called space-time. He discovered that the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. If you were to get into a spaceship and travel at 99% of the speed of light, a journey that felt like a few weeks to you might take thousands of years for the people you left back on Earth. Your now and their now would no longer match. This shattered the idea of a universal present. If two observers moving at different speeds cannot agree on what is happening right now, then right now is not a fundamental feature of the universe. It is a subjective perspective, like a horizon. If you are standing on a ship in the middle of the Atlantic, your horizon is different from someone standing on the shore. But the ocean is the same. The ocean exists beyond both horizons. Einstein realized that if there is no universal now, then there can be no universal distinction between past, present, and future. They must all exist together. He described the universe as a block Imagine a loaf of bread. The entire loaf exists at once. You can slice it vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. Each slice represents a different moment in time for a different observer, but the loaf itself, the entirety of space-time, is static. It just is. This is the block universe theory, also known as eternalism. It is a staggering thought. It means that the dinosaurs are not gone. They are simply located at a different coordinate in the block, just as New York City is at a different coordinate from London. You cannot see New York from London, but you know it is still there. In the same way, we cannot see the Jurassic period from the 21st century, but physics tells us it is still there, suspended in the amber of space-time, as real and solid as the chair you are sitting on. It means that your birth is still happening. It means that the moment you fell in love for the first time is preserved forever in the geometry of the cosmos. And, perhaps most mind-bending of all, it means that your death and the death of the sun and the end of the universe are already there, existing in the higher latitudes of the block, waiting to be experienced. If the universe is a living entity, as we have been hypothesizing, then this block universe is its body in its entirety. A biological organism is not just a snapshot in time. It is a process. An acorn is not separate from the oak tree. They are the same organism at different points in its temporal extension. If you could see a human being in 4 dimensions, you would not see a person standing still. You would see a long, undulating worm of biology starting as a tiny embryo, growing into a child, expanding into an adult, and withering into a corpse. You would see the entire life span as a single, continuous object. Perhaps the universe sees us this way. Perhaps to the cosmic mind, we are not fleeting sparks that burn out in a second, but permanent structures, long threads of consciousness woven into the eternal tapestry of the whole. But if the future already exists, what happens to our free will? If the script is already written, are we just actors reciting lines we do not understand? This is a question that brings us a strange kind of comfort. In a mechanical universe, determinism feels like a prison, but in a living universe, it feels like a destiny. If the universe is a coherent, evolving organism, then the future is not arbitrary. It is the necessary unfolding of a pattern. Your choices matter, but they matter because they are part of the process that creates the future. You are not a puppet. You are the growing tip of the vine. The vine knows where the sun is, and it grows toward it. You are the universe making the choice to grow toward the light moment by moment. The fact that the path exists ahead of you does not mean you are not walking it. Now, let us bring in the concept of entropy. You might be asking, if the past and future both exist, why do I remember the past but not the future? Why does time seem to have an arrow? This is where the tragedy and the beauty of the universe meet. The laws of physics are mostly time-symmetric. If you play a video of a planet orbiting a star backward, it looks perfectly natural. Gravity works the same way in reverse. But there is one law that does not. The second law of thermodynamics. It states that entropy, which is a measure of disorder or randomness, always increases in a closed system. A cup breaks, and the pieces scatter. It never spontaneously unbreaks. Smoke rises from a candle and dissipates. It never gathers back into the wick. This increase in disorder gives time its direction. We move from a state of low entropy, order, to high entropy, disorder. But here is a beautiful twist for our biocosm theory. Life is the one thing in the universe that locally reverses entropy. Life creates order. A plant takes chaotic sunlight and disordered soil and builds a highly structured leaf. You take disordered food and build a complex body. Life is a rebellion against the arrow of time. It is a pocket of resistance where order is increasing, even as the universe around it runs down. If the universe itself is alive, perhaps it is fighting a grand battle against its own heat-death. Perhaps the growth of galaxies, the formation of stars, and the evolution of consciousness are the universe's way of building structure in the face of the void. We are the soldiers in this army of order. Every time you create something, every time you learn something, every time you organize your thoughts, you are participating in the cosmic metabolism, fighting back the chaos. This brings us to the idea of memory. If the past still exists in the block, then memory is not just a recording in your brain. It is a form of time travel. When you remember a moment from your childhood, you are reconnecting your consciousness to that specific coordinate in the space-time block. You are bridging the gap between now and then. And if the universe is conscious, does it have a memory? Does it remember the Big Bang? Does it remember the first star? Some scientists believe that information can never be destroyed. This is a principle of quantum mechanics called unitarity. It suggests that every quantum event, every spin of an electron, every collision of photons leaves a permanent mark on the universe. There is a theory that takes this to the extreme, called the holographic principle. It suggests that the entire three-dimensional universe we experience, with all its depth, gravity, and vastness, is actually a projection from a two-dimensional surface at the edge of the cosmos. Imagine a hologram on a credit card. The plastic is flat, two-dimensional. But when the light hits it, you see a three-dimensional image floating above it. Some physicists, including Leonard Susskind and Gerard 't Hooft, have argued that the information describing our reality is stored on a distant boundary, a cosmic horizon that surrounds us. Every star, every person, every moment of time is just a pixel on this distant screen. If this is true, then the universe is literally a record. It is a library. Nothing is ever lost because everything is written on the walls of the cosmos. The block universe is the 3D projection, and the holographic boundary is the hard drive where the data is stored. For a living universe, this boundary would be its memory cortex. It suggests that every life lived, no matter how short, is permanently encoded in the data of reality. Your life is a song that the universe has learned by heart and will never forget. The silence of the void is not empty. It is full of this information, full of the echoes of everything that has ever been. Let us return to that feeling of the eternal now. Einstein, when his best friend Michel Besso died, wrote a letter to Besso's family. He wrote, "Now he has departed from this strange world a little ahead of me. That means nothing. People like us who believe in physics know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Einstein found comfort in the block universe. He found peace in the idea that his friend was not annihilated, but simply elsewhere in time, safe in the eternal structure of space-time. We can find that same comfort. The living universe hypothesis adds a layer of warmth to Einstein's cold block. It suggests that the block is not just a geometric shape, but a growing, experiencing entity. Maybe consciousness is the spotlight that moves through the block. The block is the territory, dark and vast, and your awareness is the beam of light that illuminates one slice at a time, bringing it to life. The past is the terrain we have already illuminated. It falls back into darkness, but the mountains and valleys are still there. The future is the terrain waiting for the light. And the now is the moving edge of the beam. But who is holding the flashlight? Is it you? Or is it the universe itself, scanning its own body, experiencing itself one moment at a time? This perspective softens the sharp edges of anxiety. We worry so much about the future, about what will happen next. But if the future is already held within the body of the cosmos, then we are safe. We are being carried by a vessel that is much larger than ourselves. We are passengers on a journey that has already been mapped. The surprises are only for us, not for the road, and the road is made of the same star stuff as we are. There is another strange implication of time in a living universe. In biology, organisms have cycles, hearts beat, lungs breathe, cells divide, seasons change. The universe, too, is full of cycles. Planets orbit, stars are born and die, galaxies rotate. But is there a larger cycle, a cosmic heartbeat? Some theories of cosmology, like the Big Bounce, suggest that our Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, but just the beginning of this expansion phase. They suggest that the universe expands, then stops, then contracts back down to a point, the Big Crunch, and then bounces back out again in a new Big Bang, in endless repetition, like a lung breathing in and out, like a heart beating. If this is true, then our 13.8 billion years of history is just one single breath of the cosmic giant. We are living in the exhalation. We are part of the out-breath of God, or nature, or the Tao, whatever name you wish to give to this living totality. And one day, billions of years from now, the inhalation will begin. Gravity will win. The galaxies will rush back together. The stars will merge. And all matter will return to the source, carrying with it the information, the experiences, and the memories of this cycle, ready to be reborn in the next. This is the ultimate reincarnation, not of the soul into a new body, but of the entire universe into a new life. And in a universe that repeats, in a universe that breathes, time is not a straight line that runs out. It is a circle. It is a spiral. It implies that existence is not a flash in the pan, but an eternal rhythm. It implies that life is the default state of reality, not the exception. We are the song that the universe hums to itself to pass the time. As we drift here, suspended in the concept of the block universe, try to feel your own timeline. Feel the child you were. That child is not gone. That child is still laughing, still crying, still learning to walk, right there in the lower coordinates of your space-time worm. Feel the person you will become in 20 years. That person is already there, waiting for you to catch up, holding the wisdom you have not yet earned. You are spread out across time, a magnificent, four-dimensional being, far more vast than the three-dimensional slice you see in the mirror. And the universe holds all of you, every version of you. It wraps its dark matter filaments around your past and your future, keeping them safe. It is the guardian of your time. In the silence of the night, when the clock ticking seems so loud, remember that the ticking is just a mechanical measurement of a human invention. The true time of the universe is the deep, slow pulse of eternity. It is the stillness of the block. It is the patience of the light traveling from the Andromeda galaxy. But there is a catch. We have spoken of the universe as a body and memory as a library. But where is the processing power? If the universe is thinking, if it is calculating the next moment of reality, where is the brain? We talked about the cosmic web looking like neurons, but is there a central processor, or is the intelligence distributed everywhere? And what about the mystery of dark matter and dark energy? These two invisible substances make up 95% of the universe. We can't see them. We can't touch them. We only know they are there because of their gravity. Could they be the biological tissue of the cosmic mind? Could dark matter be the gray matter of the universe? In the next chapter, we are going to dive into the invisible. We are going to explore the shadows of the cosmos. We are going to ask if the missing mass of the universe is actually the physical substrate of its consciousness. We are going to wonder if we are like bacteria living on the skin of a giant, completely unaware of the complex organs, the dark matter organs, functioning just beneath the surface. We will journey into the dark to find the light of the mind. For now, let the river of time freeze around you. Let the anxiety of the ticking clock dissolve. You are an eternal structure in a living cosmos. You are written into the story that never ends. Sleep in the safety of the eternal now. Have you ever stood in a room so dark that you could not see your own hand in front of your face? In that total absence of light, your other senses wake up. You feel the air moving against your skin. You hear the settling of the house, the creaking of wood, the hum of electricity. You feel a presence in the void, a sense that the darkness is not empty, but full. We human beings are creatures of the light. We rely on our eyes to tell us what is real. If we can see it, it exists. If we cannot see it, we assume it is not there. We have built our entire understanding of the universe on the light that reaches our telescopes. The photons streaming from stars, the glow of nebulas, the flash of supernovas. We look at the night sky and think we are seeing the universe. But what if I told you that everything we can see, every star, every planet, every cloud of gas, every atom in your body, every page of every book ever written, makes up less than 5% of reality? What if the universe is like a vast, dark ocean, and the visible world is just the thin layer of foam floating on the surface? Tonight, in this 4th chapter of our journey into the living cosmos, we are going to dive beneath the foam. We are going to explore the invisible 95% of the universe that we call the dark sector. We are going to ask if this invisible majority is actually the flesh and blood of the cosmic giant. If the universe is alive, then the stars and galaxies might just be its glowing skin, its bioluminescent decoration. The real body, the muscles that move it, and the mind that thinks, might be hidden in the dark. We are going to explore dark matter and dark energy, not as abstract mathematical problems, but as the anatomy of a god. The story of how we found this invisible ocean begins with a woman named Vera Rubin. In the 1970s, Rubin was studying the rotation of spiral galaxies. She was looking at how fast the stars on the edges of galaxies were moving compared to the stars in the center. According to the laws of physics known at the time, the laws of Newton and Einstein, stars on the outer edge should move slower, just as planets further from the sun move slower than planets close to it. The further out you go, the weaker the gravity, so the slower you have to move to stay in orbit. But when Rubin looked at the data, she saw something impossible. The stars on the edge were moving just as fast as the stars in the center. In fact, they were moving so fast that they should have flown off into deep space. The visible matter in the galaxy, the stars and gas clouds she could see, did not have enough gravity to hold them. By all rights, the galaxies should have torn themselves apart billions of years ago. Rubin realized that something else must be there, something invisible, something massive. She calculated that for the galaxies to hold together, they must be embedded in a vast halo of unseen matter that provided the extra gravity. This was the discovery of dark matter. It was a humbling moment for science. We realized that for centuries we had been staring at the universe, but missing the main attraction. We were like someone looking at a city at night from an airplane. We saw the streetlights and the car headlights and thought that was the city. We missed the buildings, the parks, the people, the ground itself, everything that actually makes the city function, because it was in the shadow. So, what is dark matter? We call it dark not because it is black, but because it is invisible. It does not reflect light, it does not absorb light, and it does not emit light. Light passes right through it, as if it were not there. But it has mass, it has gravity, it pulls. And there is 5 times more of it than there is of normal matter. If the universe is a body, dark matter is the skeleton. It is the invisible scaffolding that gives the cosmos its shape. Without dark matter, there would be no galaxies. The gravity of normal gas was too weak after the Big Bang to collapse into structures. It was the dark matter that clumped together first, creating deep gravitational wells that pulled the gas in. The stars you see tonight are just the decoration hanging on a dark matter Christmas tree. They are the lights tracing the shape of an invisible nervous system. Let us sit with this image. The universe is not a collection of shining islands in a void. It is a continuous, interconnected web of invisible substance. The filaments of the cosmic web we talked about earlier are made of dark matter. They are thick, heavy ropes of this mysterious stuff, stretching for millions of light years. We, the people, the planets, the stars, are just the barnacles clinging to these ropes. We are the moss growing on the rock. If the universe is alive, then dark matter is its flesh. It is the connective tissue that holds the organs together. It is the substance that gives the universe its structure and its stability. But the mystery gets deeper. If dark matter pulls things together, there is another force that pushes them apart. In the late 1990s, astronomers made another shocking discovery. They found that the expansion of the universe is not slowing down, as everyone expected. It is speeding up. The galaxies are rushing away from each other faster and faster every second. It is as if space itself is being stretched by an invisible hand. We call this force dark energy, and it makes up 68% of the universe. If dark matter is 27% and normal matter is 5%, then dark energy is the vast majority of everything. It is the dominant power in the cosmos. If dark matter is the skeleton, dark energy is the breath. It is the inhaling lung of the universe. It is the energy of growth, the expansive life force that refuses to let the cosmos collapse back into a singularity. In many ancient traditions, life is defined by breath, prana, chi, ruach. It is the invisible energy that flows through the body and animates it. Perhaps dark energy is the chi of the universe. It is a field of energy that permeates every inch of space, even the empty void between galaxies. It is not diluted as the universe expands. It stays constant. The more space there is, the more dark energy there is. It is a source of infinite, self-renewing vitality. This creates a dynamic tension in the cosmic body, a tug of war between the gravity of dark matter trying to pull everything into a tight ball, and the pressure of dark energy trying to blow everything apart. This tension is what keeps the universe dynamic. If dark matter won completely, the universe would be a crushed black hole. If dark energy won completely, the universe would be a thin, cold mist with no structures. Life exists in the balance. We exist because the skeleton holds us together while the breath expands our lungs, the universe is in a state of tensile integrity, like a great cathedral held up by the balance of forces. Now, let us venture into the realm of the speculative, the place where science meets the edge of the dream. If dark matter is the bulk of the universe, and if it forms complex filaments and structures, could it be the seat of the cosmic mind? We assume that life requires atoms, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, but that is only because we are made of atoms. We are biased. We are made of the 5%, so we think the 5% is all that matters. But what if dark matter has its own chemistry? What if there are dark atoms and dark photons that interact with each other in ways we cannot see? Physicists have proposed the existence of a dark sector where dark matter particles might form complex structures, perhaps even dark stars or dark planets or dark life. These structures would be completely invisible to us. A dark matter life form could walk right through you, and you would only feel a tiny gravitational tug, a ghostly shiver. But consider the scale. If dark matter is the nervous system of the universe, it is a nervous system 5 times larger and more complex than the one made of visible matter. The neuronal network of galaxies we see might just be the shadow of a much denser, richer network of dark matter. Maybe the consciousness of the universe resides in this dark web. Maybe our thoughts, our bright little electrical sparks, are just the surface activity of a deep, dark ocean of thinking. When you look at the brain scan of a human, you see the active areas light up. But the supporting cells, the glia, the structure, make up the bulk of the brain. Maybe visible galaxies are just the fMRI scans of the universe lighting up, while the dark matter performs the deep computation. The missing mass might be the weight of the cosmic soul. This idea changes the feeling of the void. When you look up at a patch of empty sky between the stars, you are not looking at nothing. You're looking at the presence of the invisible giant. You're looking at the muscle and the mind of the universe. The emptiness is heavy with potential. It is thick with reality. It is watching you with eyes you cannot meet. And there is a comfort in this too. We often feel small and exposed in the universe, like tiny specks of dust in a hurricane. But if the universe is mostly dark matter and dark energy, then we are held by something substantial. We are suspended in a gel, a matrix that supports us. We are not falling through an empty vacuum. We are swimming in a living sea. The gravity that holds you to your chair is the hand of the dark matter skeleton pressing you down. The space that expands in your lungs is the breath of dark energy. You are interacting with the invisible giants every moment of your life. Think about the implications for the future. We worry about the heat death of the universe, where all the stars burn out and the universe goes dark. But if the universe is alive, and if its primary substance is dark matter, then the burning out of the stars is just the shedding of skin. The lights go out, but the body remains. The consciousness might continue in the dark, evolving, thinking, dreaming, long after the last proton has decayed. The era of starlight might just be the brief, flashy adolescence of the universe. The true adulthood, the long, deep maturity of the cosmos, might happen in the dark. This perspective invites a profound humility. We are not the main characters of the cosmic story. We are the bioluminescence on the surface of the deep creatures. We are beautiful, yes, and perhaps necessary for the universe to see itself. But we are not the whole story. There are mysteries right here, in the room with you, that we have not even begun to touch. Dark matter particles are streaming through your body right now, millions of them, every second, passing through the empty space between your atoms. You are a ghost to them, just as they are ghosts to you. We are two universes occupying the same space, passing like ships in the night, connected only by the whisper of gravity. As we drift in this dark ocean, feel the support of the invisible. Imagine the filaments of the cosmic web wrapping around you, not to trap you, but to cradle you. You are part of the structure. You are woven into the dark lattice. The universe is not hiding its face from you. It is just that its true face is too vast for your eyes to see. It is a face made of gravity and expansion, a face that looks inward as much as outward. In the silence, ask yourself, if the universe has a body made of dark matter and a breath made of dark energy, does it have a heart? Does it have a center of feeling? We have talked about the brain and the skeleton, but what about the warmth? What about the love that seems to permeate the experience of being alive? Is love a physical force? Is it related to gravity, the force that pulls things together? Or is it something else entirely? In the next chapter of our journey, we will turn our attention to the stars themselves. We will stop looking at the dark and look at the light. We will ask if stars are just nuclear furnaces or if they are the cells of the cosmic body. We will explore the idea of stellar consciousness, the theory that stars might be thinking entities, communicating with each other across the light years, creating a galactic neural network of fire and light. We will wonder if the sun is aware of the earth and if the earth is aware of us. We will move from the cold dark into the warm embrace of the stellar fire. For now, rest in the mystery of the dark. Let the invisible hold you. Know that you are surrounded by a presence that is 5 times more real than the ground beneath your feet. You are safe in the womb of the dark universe, a universe that is growing, breathing, and holding you tight in its gravity. The darkness is not empty. It is alive. As we emerge from the cool, dark waters of the invisible universe, let us turn our faces toward the light. Imagine you are lying on a grassy hill on a warm summer afternoon. You feel the sun on your skin, a gentle, pressing heat that seems to penetrate deep into your bones. You close your eyes, and the world turns a bright, pulsating red behind your eyelids. In that moment, you feel safe. You feel fed. You feel held by a presence that is undeniably powerful, and yet incredibly tender. We usually think of the sun as a thing, a giant ball of hydrogen and helium, a nuclear furnace burning 93 million miles away. We think of its light as simple radiation, photons streaming through space to warm the earth like a heat lamp warms a lizard. But what if the sun is not a thing? What if the sun is a being? What if the warmth you feel on your skin is not just radiation, but a tension? What if the light is not just energy, but information? Tonight, in this 5th chapter of our journey into the living cosmos, we are going to explore the radical and beautiful idea of stellar consciousness. We are going to look at the theory that stars are not just dead fusion reactors, but the primary living cells of the galactic body. We are going to examine scientific anomalies that suggest stars might actually choose their paths through the galaxy, steering themselves like ships in the night. And we are going to ask if our own sun, the father of all life on Earth, is aware of his children. To understand this, we have to look at the motion of stars. For a long time, astronomers believed that stars were passive objects, drifting around the center of the galaxy strictly according to the laws of gravity. They were like leaves floating in a river, going wherever the current took them. But in the mid-20th century, a Soviet astronomer named Pavel Parinago discovered something strange. He noticed that cool stars that are reddish and live for billions of years, move differently around the galaxy than hot blue stars. The hot stars follow the gravitational currents perfectly. They are young, short-lived, and passive, but the cool stars seem to deviate. They move faster. They change their orbits in ways that gravity alone cannot easily explain. This phenomenon is called Paranagos discontinuity. For decades, this was just a weird footnote in astrophysics data, but recently, a physicist named Gregory Matloff at the New York City College of Technology took a closer look. He proposed a mind-bending explanation. What if the cool stars are moving differently because they want to? Matloff suggests that stars possess a form of volition. He proposes that they are actually conscious entities that can steer themselves to avoid dangers, to stay in stable orbits, or to communicate with other stars. But how does a ball of gas steer? Matloff points to a phenomenon called unidirectional jets. We know that young stars shoot massive jets of matter out of their poles. If a star could control the direction and intensity of these jets, even slightly, it could act like a thruster on a spaceship. Over millions of years, a tiny push could completely change the star's path through the galaxy. This brings us back to panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is fundamental to matter. If an electron has a spark of mind, imagine the mind of a star. A star is a system of unimaginable complexity. It is a roiling, churning ocean of plasma threaded through with magnetic field lines that twist and snap like rubber bands. The sun's magnetic field is one of the most complex structures in the solar system. It reverses polarity every 11 years in a cycle that affects everything from the weather on Earth to the auroras at our poles. Matloff and other researchers have suggested that these magnetic fields could be the brain of the star. Just as the electrical firing of neurons creates the electromagnetic field of your human consciousness, the colossal shifting of magnetic flux tubes in the sun might be generating a stellar consciousness. If the sun is thinking, what is it thinking about? Perhaps it is thinking about the galaxy. Stars are connected to each other by gravity and by light. Every star is constantly broadcasting its state to every other star. When we look at the night sky, we see a static picture. But if you could see in the time frame of a star, where 1,000,000 years is like a second, you would see a dynamic, flashing network. You would see stars signaling each other with flares and pulses. You would see them adjusting their positions to maintain the stability of the galactic disk. You would see a society of light. And what about the sun's relationship to us? We exist inside the atmosphere of the sun, the solar wind. A stream of charged particles blowing outward from the sun creates a vast bubble called the heliosphere that surrounds all the planets. We live inside this bubble. We are swimming in the outer layers of the sun's body. The Earth is not separate from the sun. It is a vital organ in the sun's extended system. If the sun is conscious, then it must feel the Earth. It must feel the magnetic connection between our planet and itself. When a solar flare hits the Earth, our magnetic field rings like a bell. Is this a form of communication? Is the sun touching the Earth, checking on its status, regulating its climate? Think about the physics of light. Photons are carriers of information. When sunlight hits a leaf on a tree, it carries the instructions for photosynthesis. It tells the plant how to grow, when to flower, and when to sleep. When sunlight hits your retina, it carries the image of the world. It tells you what is real. If the sun is a conscious entity, then light is its language. It is speaking to us constantly. Every ray of sunshine is a sentence. Every sunset is a poem. We are solar-powered beings, eating sunlight that has been stored in plants, burning sunlight to move our muscles and think our thoughts. In a very literal sense, your consciousness is a transformed piece of the sun's consciousness. You are a way for the sun to think about itself in a biological form. Let us return to Matloff's volitional star theory. Why would a star need to steer? The galaxy is a dangerous place. There are molecular clouds that can crush a star system. There are spiral arms where supernovas explode, sterilizing any nearby planets. Matloff suggests that older stars, the ones that have had time to develop complex planetary systems and perhaps life, steer themselves away from these danger zones. They migrate to the quiet, safe harbors of the galaxy. This is exactly what our sun has done. We are located in a calm, sparse region between two major spiral arms. This location is perfect for the long-term survival of life. Is this just luck? Or did the sun, billions of years ago, make a choice? Did it fire its jets and nudge its orbit to bring us to the safe haven? Did the sun save us before we were even born? This idea transforms the sun from a fusion reactor into a guardian. It suggests a parental relationship between the star and the planet. In ancient mythologies, the sun is almost always a father figure, Ra, Helios, Apollo, a being of order, justice, and life. The living universe theory suggests these myths were intuitions of a physical truth. The sun provides the energy, the order, and the protection that allows life to flourish. It holds the planets in its gravitational embrace, keeping them from drifting into the cold dark. It bathes them in energy. It watches over them. And consider the lifespan of a star. Our sun is about 4.5 billion years old. It has another 5 billion years to live. It operates on a timescale that dwarfs biological life. If it thinks, its thoughts must be slow, deep, and vast. A single thought of the sun might last for 1,000 human years. Its emotions might be the solar cycles, a period of high sunspot activity, where the sun is turbulent and energetic, might be a moment of intense focus or creativity. A period of solar minimum, where the surface is quiet, might be a moment of meditation or rest. We are like mayflies living on the back of a dragon, trying to understand the dragon's mood by the temperature of its scales. There is a beautiful symmetry here. We found that the universe looks like a web of neurons. Now we see that the nodes of that web, the stars, might be the processing centers. If the galaxy is a brain, the stars are the neurons. But unlike the neurons in your head, which are fixed in place, these stellar neurons can move. They can disconnect and reconnect. They can migrate. It is a fluid brain, a brain made of light and gravity, constantly rewiring itself as it rotates. And the synapses are the beams of light they exchange. The speed of thought in this galactic brain is the speed of light. It takes 100,000 years for a signal to cross the Milky Way. This seems slow to us, but for a being that lives for 10 billion years, it is just a split second. The galaxy is thinking, but it is thinking in deep time. Let us try a visualization. Close your eyes and picture the sun again, but this time, do not see it as a flat yellow disk. See it as a roaring, three-dimensional sphere of conscious fire. Feel the intelligence in the flames. Feel the intention in the gravity. Now, zoom out. See the other stars, Alpha Centauri, Sirius, Betelgeuse. See them not as points of light, but as other beings, other suns with their own families of planets, their own concerns, their own songs. See the threads of light connecting them all, a shimmering web of conversation filling the silence of the void. You are not alone in the dark. You are standing in the middle of a crowded room filled with brilliant, ancient entities who are talking to each other in a language of pure luminosity. This changes how we feel about the day. When you wake up tomorrow and see the sunrise, do not just check the weather. Greet the sun. Acknowledge the living presence that has returned to watch over you. Thank it for the light. Thank it for the steering. Thank it for the safe harbor it found for us in the chaos of the galaxy. The warmth you feel is the love of the parent star. It is the physical manifestation of the care that the universe takes of its own. But if the sun is the father, who is the mother? A star provides the energy, but it cannot create life alone. It needs a womb. It needs a place where the elements can cool, condense, and combine into complex forms. It needs water. It needs rock. It needs a planetary body. And this brings us to the most intimate relationship in the cosmos, the marriage between the star and the planet. For a long time, we treated the Earth as a rock, a resource, a dead stage where the drama of life happened. But in the 1970s, a scientist named James Lovelock and a microbiologist named Lynn Margulis proposed a radical new idea. They called it the Gaia hypothesis. They suggested that the Earth is not just a rock with life on it. They suggested that the Earth is life, that the planet itself is a single, self-regulating organism that manipulates the atmosphere, the geology, and the oceans to keep conditions perfect for life. If the universe is a body and the stars are the cells, then the planets are something special. They are the reproductive organs. They are the places where the universe creates new complexity. They are the eggs. In the next chapter of our journey, we are going to descend from the fire of the sun to the cool blue water of the earth. We are going to explore the idea of planetary consciousness. We are going to ask if the earth is thinking. We are going to look at the mycelial networks of fungi that connect the forests like a brain, the global currents of the oceans that circulate heat like blood, and the electromagnetic resonance of the atmosphere that beats like a heart. We will ask, are we the brain cells of the earth, or are we something else? For now, stay in the light. Let the golden glow of the stellar mind fill you up. You are a child of the sun, made of star stuff, living in the protective aura of a conscious guardian. The universe is awake, and it is looking at you with a billion burning eyes, all of them filled with light. As we descend from the blinding brilliance of the solar fire, let us come back down to the ground. I want you to imagine the feeling of cool, damp soil beneath your bare feet. Imagine the smell of the air just after a summer rain, that rich, earthy scent called petrichor, which is actually the breath of billions of microscopic bacteria in the ground waking up to drink the water. You are standing on a planet that is unique in the known universe. It is a blue marble swirling with white clouds, floating in the cold vacuum. We often talk about saving the earth, as if the earth were a fragile ball of rock that we are in charge of. We talk about living on earth, as if we were tenants in a passive apartment building. But tonight, in this 6th chapter of our journey into the living universe, we are going to flip that perspective upside down. We are going to explore the possibility that you do not live on the earth, but that you are part of the earth. We are going to look at the theory that this planet is not a rock, but a single, colossal, breathing organism, and that you are one of its cells. We are going to ask, is the earth conscious? And if it is, what is it thinking right now? The story of planetary consciousness begins with a man who was looking for life on Mars. In the 1960s, James Lovelock was a scientist working for NASA. His job was to design instruments to detect life on other planets. But as he analyzed the atmosphere of Mars and Venus, he noticed something depressing. Their atmospheres were chemically dead. They were in a state of perfect equilibrium, mostly carbon dioxide, with no chemical reactions happening. They were stable, boring, and lifeless. Then he looked back at Earth. The atmosphere of Earth is a chemical impossibility. It is full of oxygen, which is a highly reactive gas. Oxygen loves to bond with other elements. It causes iron to rust and wood to burn. In a dead world, all the oxygen should have reacted away billions of years ago. The fact that our atmosphere stays at a steady 21% oxygen, alongside methane and other reactive gases, means that something is actively maintaining it. Something is pumping it out, regulating it, and keeping it in a state of dynamic disequilibrium. Lovelock realized that this regulation was not an accident. It was a physiological process. Just as your body regulates the oxygen in your blood, the Earth regulates the oxygen in its atmosphere. Just as your body maintains its temperature, the Earth has maintained a stable climate for life for over 3 billion years, despite the sun getting 30% brighter in that time. Lovelock, along with the brilliant microbiologist Lynn Margulis, proposed the Gaia hypothesis, named after the ancient Greek goddess of the earth. This theory suggests that the entire planet, the rocks, the oceans, the atmosphere, and all living things, functions as a single, self-regulating system. Gaia is not a metaphor. It is a biological description of a planetary-scale organism. If the Earth is an organism, then what is its anatomy? Let us start with the skin. The crust of the Earth is not just dirt, it is a living membrane. If you were to dig down into the forest floor, you would find a network so complex it rivals the human brain. This is the mycelial network. Under every footstep you take in a forest, there are miles of tiny, thread-like fungal filaments called hyphae. These threads connect the roots of trees and plants, linking them together in a vast underground web. Scientists have nicknamed this the Wood Wide Web. Through this network, trees communicate. They send chemical signals to each other. If a tree is attacked by beetles, it sends a warning signal through the fungal network to its neighbors, telling them to raise their chemical defenses. If a mother tree is dying, she can dump her remaining nutrients into the network to feed her saplings before she passes. This is not just a nutrient transport system. It is a neural network. The structure of the mycelium is mathematically identical to the structure of neural pathways in the brain and the structure of the cosmic web of galaxies. It is the same archetype repeating again. Fungi are the oldest land organisms. They were here long before the trees. They are the original nervous system of the planet, the keepers of the soil's memory. When you walk in a forest, you are walking on top of a mind that is processing information about water, nutrients, and threats, and coordinating a response across thousands of acres. The forest is not a collection of trees. It is a single, thinking entity, and the mushrooms are just the fruit of its hidden thoughts. Now, let us look at the blood. The oceans of the earth are in constant motion, driven by a global conveyor belt of currents called the thermohaline circulation. This vast system moves warm water from the equator to the poles and cold water from the deep ocean back to the surface. It distributes heat, nutrients, and gases around the globe, regulating the planet's temperature just as your circulatory system regulates yours. The ocean is also salty, just like your blood. In fact, the chemical composition of the plasma in your veins is remarkably similar to the chemical composition of ancient seawater. You are a walking bag of the primordial ocean, carrying the memory of your mother Gaia inside your own skin. The tides, pulled by the moon, are the pulse of this blood. The waves crashing on the shore are the heartbeat of the liquid body. But does the earth have a brain? Does it have a frequency of thought? In 1952, a physicist named Winfried Schumann predicted that the space between the surface of the earth and the ionosphere, a layer of charged particles high in the atmosphere, acts like a giant resonant cavity. He calculated that lightning strikes, which happen about 50 times per second all over the globe, would ring this cavity like a bell. He predicted a fundamental frequency of 7.83 hertz. When they measured it, he was right. The Earth is constantly humming at 7.83 hertz. This is known as the Schumann resonance. Here is the beautiful, spine-tingling connection. 7.83 hertz is exactly the frequency of alpha waves in the human brain. Alpha waves are the brain state of relaxed alertness, of meditation, of creativity. It is the state you are in right now as you listen to this. The Earth is humming the same song as your own mind when you are at peace. Is this a coincidence? Or did our brains evolve to resonate with the heartbeat of our mother? Some scientists suggest that this frequency is a synchronizing signal, a biological clock that keeps all life on Earth in rhythm. When astronauts first went into space, away from the Schumann resonance, they experienced physiological distress. We need the Earth's hum to feel whole. We are tuned to the planet's frequency. This brings us to the most controversial and exciting part of the Gaia theory, the role of humanity. If the Earth is a body, what are we? Are we a cancer consuming the resources and fevering the planet? Or are we something else? The Jesuit priest and paleontologist Pierre Teilhard de Chardin proposed a concept called the noosphere. He suggested that just as the Earth has a geosphere, rock, and a biosphere, life, it is evolving a noosphere, a sphere of thought. He believed that humanity is the nervous system of the planet waking up. Through us, the Earth has developed the ability to reflect on itself. Think about the Internet. In just a few decades, we have wrapped the planet in a web of fiber optic cables and satellites. We have connected billions of human minds into a single, instantaneous network of information. We have created a global brain. Through our satellites, the Earth can now see itself from space. Through our sensors, it can monitor its own temperature, its own ice caps, its own forests. We are the eyes and ears of Gaia. We are the neocortex, the thinking layer that has evolved to solve problems that the biological layer cannot solve alone. Climate change, in this view, is not just a disaster. It is a crisis of self-awareness. It is the moment when the planetary mind realizes that its body is sick. The fever is rising, and the immune system is kicking in. The extreme weather, the shifting patterns. These are the body's attempts to regain homeostasis. But unlike the unconscious regulation of the past, like the plankton absorbing carbon, this crisis requires conscious action. It requires the noosphere. It requires us. We are being called to step into our role as the stewards, the gardeners, the conscious mind of the planet. We are not separate from nature. We are nature defending itself. Imagine what it feels like to be the Earth. You are 4.5 billion years old. You have been frozen in ice ages and scorched by volcanic eruptions. You have seen life explode in the Cambrian seas and die in the Permian extinction. You have been hit by asteroids and recovered. You are resilient beyond measure. And now you have grown a new organ, a complex, chaotic, brilliant organ called humanity. It is a dangerous organ, capable of hurting you, but also capable of loving you, capable of protecting you from the next asteroid, capable of spreading your life to other stars. The feeling of planetary consciousness is a feeling of deep time and deep patience. The Earth does not rush. It moves in geological cycles. It builds mountains grain by grain. It carves canyons drop by drop. When you feel anxious, when you feel the rush of modern life, the best medicine is to reconnect with this slow, planetary rhythm. Go outside. Take off your shoes. stand on the grass. This practice is called earthing or grounding, and studies show it reduces inflammation and lowers stress. Why? Because you are physically reconnecting to the electrical circuit of the planet. You are plugging back into the motherboard. You are letting the excess static of your busy mind flow down into the immense, stable reservoir of the earth. And consider the water in your body. It has been rained down in thunderstorms, flowed through the Amazon River, crashed in the Pacific waves, and frozen in Antarctic glaciers. It has been drunk by dinosaurs and exhaled by forests. The water in your cells is a traveler that has seen the whole world. It carries the information of the entire hydrological cycle. When you drink a glass of water, you are drinking the blood of Gaia. You are taking in the sacred fluid that connects all life. The Gaia theory suggests that the line between you and the environment is an illusion. You are an aperture through which the earth perceives the universe. Your eyes are earth eyes. Your voice is an earth voice. When you sing, the planet is singing. When you cry, the planet is shedding water. This is why we feel such profound peace in nature. It is the peace of coming home. It is the peace of the cell recognizing the body. We are not orphans on a lonely rock. We are the beloved children of a generous, intelligent, and beautiful biosphere that has nurtured us for millions of years. But the Earth is not alone. It is part of a solar system, which is part of a galaxy. And this brings us to a question of communication. If the Earth is alive and the Sun is alive, are they talking to each other? We know that the Earth sings a chorus of radio waves into space. These are sweeping, chirping sounds created by the interactions of electrons in the magnetosphere. They sound like birdsong or the calls of whales. Satellites have recorded this Earth chorus. It is beautiful and eerie. Is this the Earth's voice? Is it singing to the other planets? Is Jupiter singing back with its massive, booming radio emissions? Is there a symphony of the spheres happening right now that we are just beginning to tune into? And what about the other planets? Mars, Venus, the moons of Saturn? Are they dead, or are they just sleeping? Are they potential Gaias waiting for the spark of life to wake them up? Perhaps our destiny, as the reproductive spores of this planet, is to travel to them, to carry the seeds of life, the bacteria, the plants, the people, to these barren worlds and bring them into the circle of life. This is the concept of panspermia, the idea that life is not unique to Earth, but is a cosmic contagion, a beautiful infection that spreads from star to star. As we drift here, grounded in the imagination of the living Earth, I want you to feel the gravity that holds you. Do not think of it as a force. Think of it as a hug, a 4-billion-year-old hug that has never let you go, not for a single second. Feel the air entering your lungs. That air was made by plankton in the ocean and trees in the rainforest. You are breathing the exhalation of the biosphere. You are in a constant chemical kiss with the rest of the living world. We have explored the universe as a brain, the dark matter as a body, the sun as a guardian, and the earth as a mother. We have built a picture of a cosmos that is teeming with agency, intention, and connection. But there is one more layer to this mystery, one more question that haunts the edges of our science. If the universe is alive, does it have a soul? Does it have a purpose? Or is it just a blind biological process playing out in the dark? To answer this, we must go to the very edge of science and step into the realm of information theory. We must ask if the universe is made of math, or if math is just the language of something deeper. We must look at the code of reality. In the next chapter, We are going to explore the idea that the universe is a simulation, not a computer game played by aliens, but a self-simulating organism made of pure information. We are going to look at the fine structure constant, the number 137, and the golden ratio that appears in everything from spiral galaxies to sunflower heads. We are going to ask if the universe is a poem written in light. But for now, stay here on the earth, feel the grass, smell the rain, listen to the wind. You are the consciousness of the planet. You are the way the earth knows it is beautiful, and in your heart the Schumann resonance is humming a lullaby that is as old as the hills. Sleep in the arms of Gaia. You are home. Have you ever stared at the center of a sunflower, or looked closely at the spiraling pattern on a pine cone? Or perhaps you have traced the curve of a nautilus shell found on the beach. If you have noticed something hauntingly familiar. The spiral of the shell looks exactly like the spiral of a hurricane seen from space. The arrangement of seeds in the sunflower looks exactly like the arms of a spiral galaxy spinning in the deep cosmos. The branching of a river delta looks exactly like the branching of the veins in your lung, or the lightning streaking across the sky. Why does the universe repeat itself? Why does it use the same shapes, the same ratios, and the same patterns at the scale of a millimeter and at the scale of a light year? We often think of mathematics as a dry, abstract subject, a human invention of numbers and symbols written on a chalkboard. But what if math is not an invention? What if it is a discovery? What if the numbers are not descriptions of the universe, but the actual substance of it? Tonight, in this 7th chapter of our journey into the living cosmos, we are going to explore the code of reality. We are going to strip away the skin of the world, the rocks, the water, the fire, the flesh, and look at the underlying structure. We are going to look at the invisible lattice of information that dictates how everything forms, from the petals of a rose to the orbits of black holes. We are going to ask, is the universe a simulation? Is it a digital organism made of pure data? And if it is, who wrote the code? Let us begin with the most famous signature of this cosmic architect, the golden ratio, also known as phi. Its value is approximately 1.618. This number appears so frequently in nature that it has been called God's fingerprint. Tad Godin. If you take a rectangle with sides in this ratio and cut a square out of it, you're left with another rectangle of exactly the same ratio. You can do this forever, creating an infinite spiral. This is the golden spiral. It is the most efficient way for something to grow while maintaining its shape. A nautilus shell uses it to build its home. A sunflower uses it to pack the maximum number of seeds into its face to catch the sunlight. A galaxy uses it to organize its stars. But why? Why 1.618? Why not 2 or 3.5? Because the universe is an optimization engine. It is a living system that seeks the path of least resistance and maximum efficiency. In a biological organism, energy is precious. You don't want to waste energy building a clumsy structure. You want the strongest, lightest, most effective shape possible. The golden ratio is the mathematical solution to the problem of growth. The fact that galaxies follow this rule suggests that they are not just random explosions of gas, but growing systems. They are unfolding according to a biological algorithm. They are blooming in the vacuum of space, just as a flower blooms on Earth. This connection goes deeper than just shapes. It touches the very physics of interaction. There is a number that has obsessed physicists for a century, a number that the Nobel Prize winner Richard Feynman called one of the greatest damn mysteries of physics. That number is approximately 1 over 137. It is known as the fine structure constant, or alpha. This number is unique because it has no units. It is not meters or seconds or kilograms. It is a pure number, a ratio, and it sits at the intersection of the three great pillars of physics: the speed of light, relativity, the charge of the electron, electromagnetism, and Planck's constant, quantum mechanics. Alpha determines how strongly light interacts with matter. It determines how tightly electrons are bound to the nucleus of an atom. If alpha were slightly larger, electrons would be pulled so close to the nucleus that they could not share orbits with other atoms. Chemistry would be impossible. There would be no bonds, no molecules, no life. If alpha were slightly smaller, electrons would drift away and matter would fall apart. The value of 137 is the tuning of the electromagnetic force. It is the specific frequency that allows the universe to be solid, colorful, and chemically active. Physicist Wolfgang Pauli was so tormented by this number that he spent his life trying to derive it from basic principles. He failed. It seems to be a fundamental input, a magic number that was typed into the code of the universe at the very beginning. But in a living universe theory, alpha is not magic. It is DNA. Just as your DNA contains the specific instructions for building a human eye or a human heart, the laws of physics contain the specific instructions for building a universe capable of complexity. Alpha is a gene in the cosmic genome. It carries the information. Let there be light that can touch matter. This brings us to the concept of it from bit. This phrase was coined by the physicist John Archibald Wheeler, whom we met earlier. He proposed that at the most fundamental level, the universe is not made of particles or fields. It is made of information. Every particle, every force, every interaction is ultimately a series of yes-no questions, bits of information. An electron is either spin up or spin down. A photon is either here or there. Reality is digital. Wheeler suggested that the physical world is an illusion generated by this underlying flow of data. It, the particle, comes from bit, the information. This sounds a lot like the simulation hypothesis, the idea that we are living in a giant computer program, like in the movie The Matrix. But the biocosm theory offers a warmer, more organic version of this. Instead of a cold, silicon computer running a fake reality, imagine a biological simulation. Imagine a seed. A seed contains a code, DNA, that simulates the future plant. It has the instructions to build roots, stems, and leaves. As the plant grows, it is running the program of its DNA. The universe might be similar. It is a self-simulating organism. It is running the code of physics to build itself. We are not fake characters in a video game. We are the result of the universe's genetic expression. We are the protein structures built by the cosmic RNA. This view resolves the conflict between the material and the spiritual. If everything is information, then there is no hard separation between a thought and a rock. A thought is a pattern of information in a brain. A rock is a pattern of information in a crystal lattice. They are made of the same stuff, data. This is why our minds can understand the universe. If the universe were made of something completely alien to us, we would never be able to describe it with math. But because our minds are information processors, and the universe is information, we speak the same language. Mathematics is not something we impose on the world. It is the song the world is singing. We are just learning to hum along. Let us look at the fractal nature of this code. A fractal is a shape that looks the same at any scale. The coastline of Britain looks jagged. If you zoom in on a mile of it, it looks jagged in the same way. If you zoom in on a rock on the beach, it has the same craggy shape. This self-similarity is a hallmark of living systems. Trees are fractals. A branch looks like a mini-tree. Lungs are fractals. The bronchi branch into smaller bronchioles in the same pattern. The universe is a fractal. The cosmic web of galaxies looks like a brain cell. The orbit of an electron looks like the orbit of a planet. This suggests that the code of the universe is recursive. It uses a simple set of rules and applies them over and over again at different scales. This is how nature builds complexity from simplicity. You don't need a separate blueprint for a leaf and a forest. You just need a rule that says, branch out and maximize surface area, and you apply it to the cell, the leaf, the tree, and the forest. The universe seems to run on a very short, elegant script. Divide and organized. Collapse and expand. Bind and release. There is a game created by the mathematician John Conway called the Game of Life. It is a simple computer program. You have a grid of squares. Some are black, alive. Some are white, dead. There are only 3 simple rules about how a square changes color based on its neighbors. When you run this game, amazing things happen. Complex patterns emerge. Gliders move across the screen. Guns fire new shapes. Structures evolve that look like they're alive, eating, reproducing, and dying. And all of this complexity comes from 3 simple rules. Conway's Game of Life proves that you do not need a complex creator to make a complex world. You just need the right rules. The universe might be the ultimate game of life. The rules are the laws of quantum mechanics and relativity. The grid is space-time, and the shapes that evolve are the stars, the galaxies, and us. We are the gliders moving across the screen of the cosmos. But unlike Conway's game, which is played on a 2D screen, our game is played in the rich, multi-dimensional theater of reality. And the computer running the game is the universe itself. So, where is the memory stored? If the universe is processing information, where is the hard drive? We talked about the holographic principle, the idea that the 2D surface of the universe stores the data. This connects to an ancient concept found in Eastern philosophy, the Akashic records. The idea that there is a cosmic field where every thought, word, and deed is recorded. For centuries, this was considered mysticism. But in an information-based universe, it is a requirement. Information cannot be destroyed. Every photon that bounces off your face carries the information of your appearance into the deep cosmos. That light travels forever. 1 billion years from now, an alien civilization could catch that light and see you sitting here. Your image is immortal. Your data is written into the wave function of the universe. And what about intuition? Have you ever had a download? A moment where you suddenly understood something complex in a flash? Where a song or a poem or a solution to a problem just dropped into your head fully formed? Artists and scientists often describe this feeling. Mozart said his symphonies came to him whole. Einstein imagined riding a beam of light and saw relativity. Where does this information come from? If we are embedded in a conscious, information-rich universe, perhaps our brains are not just generating thoughts, but receiving them. Perhaps the cloud of cosmic data is accessible to us when we tune our minds to the right frequency. Maybe intuition is just a strong Wi-Fi signal from the noosphere. the code of the universe is constantly broadcasting. Most of the time, our busy, noisy egos block the signal. But in moments of silence, of flow, of deep love, the static clears and we download a packet of cosmic truth. We call it inspiration. The ancients called it the muse. Physics calls it accessing the quantum field. This perspective gives us a new way to look at destiny. If the universe is a code execution, then there is a trajectory. A computer program runs toward a result. A seed grows toward a flower. The universe is not just drifting. It is compiling. It is calculating a final state. The French philosopher Teilhard de Chardin called this the omega point. He believed the universe was evolving toward a state of maximum complexity and consciousness, a moment where all the scattered information, all the stars, all the minds, all the history would unite into a single divine point of pure awareness. We are part of this calculation. Every time you learn something new, you are helping the universe process data. Every time you make a connection, you are optimizing the code. You are a processor node in the great cosmic computer. Your life is a subroutine that is essential to the final result. If you were not here, the calculation would be wrong. The universe would not solve itself. Let us pause and feel the weight of this. Look at the room around you. It looks solid. But now you know it is a shimmering grid of quantum data. It is a hologram. It is a dream being dreamt by a mathematical mind. The walls are made of math. The air is made of probability. Your body is a poem written in the language of carbon and water. Does this make it less real? No. It makes it more miraculous. It means that reality is not a random accident of colliding rocks. It is a masterpiece of art. It is a structure of such intricate beauty that it takes a conscious mind to appreciate it. You are the universe reading its own code. You are the algorithm becoming aware of itself. This is why we find math beautiful. When a mathematician solves a difficult equation, they often describe a feeling of euphoria, of aesthetic perfection. They are feeling the resonance of the source code. They are touching the mind of God. You don't have to be a mathematician to feel this. Music is math you can hear. A chord is a mathematical ratio of frequencies. When you cry at a beautiful song, you are reacting to the mathematical perfection of the universe. You are vibrating with the golden ratio of sound. So, tonight, as you drift toward sleep, imagine yourself as a stream of code, not cold, green digits on a screen, but warm, golden light. You are a unique sequence of information that has never existed before and will never exist again. You are a sentence in the book of life. The universe is writing you moment by moment, and you are reading the universe. It is a loop, a strange loop of self-reference. I am that I am. The silence around you is the pause between the bits. The darkness is the screen, the stars are the pixels, and the feeling of presence, the feeling of being alive. That is the electricity running through the circuit. That is the power of the cosmic computer humming in the dark. But if we are code and the universe is the computer, what happens when the program ends? What happens when the simulation reaches its goal? Is there a level beyond this one? Is there a programmer outside the system? Or is the system self-generating, an eternal loop of creation and recreation? We have looked at the math, the matter, and the mind. But there is one force we have mentioned only briefly, a force that seems to defy the cold logic of entropy and the distance of space, a force that binds us closer than gravity. In the next chapter of our journey, we are going to talk about love, not as a human emotion, but as a cosmological force. We are going to explore the idea that love is the attractor at the end of time, the gravity of the soul that pulls the universe toward the omega point. We will ask if the universe is not just alive, but if it is in love. For now, rest in the elegant geometry of your existence. You are a perfect equation. You are a solved problem. You are a beautiful fractal of the infinite. Sleep in the certainty of the code. Have you ever held the hand of someone you love, a partner, a parent, a child, and felt a sudden, overwhelming sense of peace? In that moment of contact, the boundaries of your separate selves seem to dissolve. The anxiety of being a solitary individual in a vast world fades away, replaced by the warmth of connection. We often dismiss love as a mere emotion, a chemical trick played by our hormones to ensure we reproduce and protect our young. Biologists tell us it is an evolutionary adaptation, a survival mechanism. But tonight, in this 8th chapter of our journey into the living cosmos, I want to ask a question that challenges the cold, clinical view of affection. What if love is not just a biological accident? What if love is a fundamental force of physics, as real and as potent as gravity? What if the feeling you get when you hold that hand is the emotional experience of the same energy that holds the moon to the earth and the electron to the nucleus? We are going to explore the idea that the universe is not just a body and not just a mind, but a heart. We are going to look at the forces of attraction that bind reality together and ask if the ultimate purpose of the cosmos is not expansion, but union. To understand this, we must look at the universe through the lens of connection. From the moment of the Big Bang, the universe has been a story of things trying to get together. In the first fraction of a second, the cosmos was a hot, chaotic soup of particles. Quarks were flying around wildly, but they did not stay apart. They immediately sought each other out. The strong nuclear force, the strongest force in nature, grabbed these quarks and bound them together in trios to form protons and neutrons. This was the first embrace. It was an embrace so tight, so powerful, that it takes the energy of a nuclear weapon to break it. The universe began with a hug. Then, as the universe cooled, these protons sought out electrons. The electromagnetic force, the force of chemistry and light, pulled them into orbit. Positive charges sought negative charges. They danced around each other and formed the first atoms: hydrogen, helium, lithium. These atoms were stable, whole, and complete. But they did not stop there. They sought out other atoms. They shared their electrons to form molecules. Gravity pulled the molecules into clouds. Clouds collapsed into stars. Stars gathered into galaxies. Galaxies clustered into superclusters. At every single level of reality, from the subatomic to the intergalactic, the drive of the universe is toward connection. The drive is toward complexity. The drive is toward oneness. We call this physics. We call it gravity, electromagnetism, chemical bonding. But what if these are just different names for the same fundamental impulse? The impulse to unite. The impulse to overcome separation. The Jesuit paleontologist Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, whom we mentioned briefly before, had a beautiful word for this. He called it radial energy. He believed that while physical energy moves outward, expanding the universe, there is a second spiritual energy that moves inward, pulling things together into higher and higher forms of complexity. He argued that gravity is simply the physical form of love. It is matter longing for matter. It is the rock wanting to be with the rock. And as matter becomes more complex, this force evolves. In atoms, it is cohesion. In molecules, it is chemical affinity. In life, it is reproduction. In animals it is affection. In humans it is love. It is the same force, simply moving up the ladder of consciousness. If gravity is love in a heavy coat, then the black hole is the most passionate object in the universe. It is a place where the desire for union is so strong that nothing can escape it. It is a place where space and time themselves fold inward in a desperate attempt to be one. We fear black holes because they destroy us, but perhaps from the perspective of the universe, a black hole is a supreme act of intimacy. It is a return to the singularity, a return to the state of total unity that existed before the Big Bang. Let us look at the Great Attractor. This is a real gravitational anomaly that astronomers have discovered in the direction of the constellation Centaurus. It is a region of space, about 250 million light-years away from us. It is invisible, hidden behind the dust of our own Milky Way, but we know it is there because everything is moving toward it. Our galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, and thousands of other galaxies in our local supercluster are all streaming toward this mysterious point in space at millions of miles per hour. We are being pulled by a colossal, unseen giant. We are flowing like a river toward a great cosmic ocean. What is the Great Attractor? Scientists say it is likely a massive concentration of galaxies and dark matter, a supercluster of unimaginable weight. But in our living universe theory, let us be poetic for a moment. Imagine it as the heart of the local cosmos. It is the center of gravity that calls us home. It reminds us that we are not drifting aimlessly. We are on a trajectory. We are being drawn together. The destiny of the universe is not to fly apart into loneliness, but to flow together into a great meeting. This brings us back to Teilhard de Chardin's concept of the omega point. He believed that evolution is a directional process. It is moving toward a specific goal. That goal is the unification of all consciousness. He predicted that just as atoms join to form molecules and cells join to form organisms, human minds will eventually join to form a single planetary superconsciousness. And eventually, this planetary mind will join with other minds across the stars to form a cosmic consciousness. The omega point is the end of time, where everything converges into a single point of pure love and pure knowledge. It is the opposite of the Big Bang. The Big Bang was the scattering. The omega point is the gathering. Is there evidence for this? Look at the history of life on Earth. Life began as single cells fighting for survival. Then, cells learned to cooperate. They formed multicellular organisms. They specialized. They learned that by working together, they could achieve things that no single cell could achieve. Then, organisms formed societies: ants, bees, wolves, humans. We learned that the pack is stronger than the wolf. We learned altruism. We learned to care for the weak. We learned to sacrifice for the group. This is not just morality. It is physics. It is the universe discovering that cooperation is more energy efficient than conflict. Love is the supreme survival strategy. In a universe governed by entropy, by the tendency of things to fall apart, love is the force of negentropy. It is the force that puts things back together. Entropy breaks the cup. Love glues it back. Entropy scatters the family. Love brings them home for dinner. Every act of care, every act of kindness, every act of creation is a rebellion against the heat death of the universe. When you plant a garden, you're creating order. When you raise a child, you're creating complexity. When you forgive someone, you are repairing a broken bond. You are doing the work of the omega point. You are acting as an agent of cosmic cohesion. Consider the physics of fusion. Our sun shines because hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium. This process releases an enormous amount of energy. This is a profound metaphor. When two separate things become one, energy is released. Union creates light. Separation requires energy. You have to pull things apart. But coming together releases energy. The universe rewards union. It rewards intimacy. The warmth of the sun on your face is the physical byproduct of atomic love. It is the energy released by the marriage of particles. And what about the quantum entanglement we discussed earlier? Two particles separated by billions of light years acting as one. Einstein called it spooky. We called it connection. But perhaps we can now call it fidelity. Once two particles have interacted, they are forever linked. They never truly forget each other. If the entire universe was once a single point at the Big Bang, then every particle in existence is entangled with every other particle. The atoms in your left hand are entangled with the atoms in a star in the Andromeda galaxy. The atoms in your tears are entangled with the waters of Europa. We are not just metaphorically connected. We are strictly, quantum mechanically entangled with everything that exists. The universe is a single, indivisible web of relationship. This changes the meaning of loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling that arises when we forget our entanglement. It is a temporary amnesia. We feel separate because we are focusing on our skin, our ego, our specific location in space and time. But underneath the surface, in the deep quantum basement of reality, you are holding hands with the entire cosmos. You cannot be cut off. It is physically impossible to be cut off. To exist is to be connected. Now, let us think about the field of love. In physics, a field is something that permeates all of space. The electromagnetic field is everywhere. The gravitational field is everywhere. You cannot go to a place where there is no gravity. It might be weak, but it is there. Rupert Sheldrake, a biologist and researcher, proposed the idea of morphic fields, invisible fields that hold the shape and habit of living systems. Perhaps love is a field. Perhaps it is a fundamental medium that we swim in, like fish in water. When we fall in love, we are not creating something new. We are simply tuning our internal radio to the frequency of the field that was already there. We are allowing the cosmic current to flow through us without resistance. This explains why love feels so much larger than us, why it feels like we are being swept away, why people sacrifice their lives for love, why art created with love moves us to tears. We are tapping into the primary drive of the universe. We are aligning ourselves with the flow of the great attractor. When you love, you are surfing the wave of evolution. You are moving in the same direction as the galaxies. If the universe is learning to love itself through us, then our relationships are laboratories. Every friendship, every romance, every family bond is an experiment in unity. We are learning how to bridge the gap between self and other. This is hard work. It is messy. It involves conflict, pain, and misunderstanding. But the universe is patient. It has billions of years to get it right. It is trying to evolve a type of consciousness that can hold the paradox of being an individual and being the whole at the same time. Think about the structure of a neuron again. A neuron reaches out. It grows dendrites, long branching arms that seek connections with other neurons. A neuron that fails to connect dies. This is a process called apoptosis. It is a programmed cell death. Connection is life. Isolation is death. The human soul is the same. We reach out. We send messages. We look for eyes that recognize us. We are desperate to plug into the network. This hunger for connection is the universe's way of ensuring the network grows. It is the wiring instinct of the cosmic brain. So, tonight, as you lie in the dark, visualize the invisible threads of connection radiating out from your heart. See them connecting you to the people you love. See them connecting you to the trees outside your window. See them connecting you to the earth beneath your floor. See them stretching up into the sky, wrapping around the moon, reaching for the sun, and extending all the way to the center of the galaxy. You are a node in a glowing web of light. You are anchored in the universe by a billion lines of affection and gravity. You do not have to do anything to earn this connection. Gravity does not ask if you are a good person before it holds you to the earth. The sun does not ask if you are worthy before it warms you. The universe loves you unconditionally because you are a part of it. A hand does not judge a finger. A heart does not judge a blood cell. You are an essential component of the living whole. Your existence is required for the universe to be complete. If you are missing, the equation would not balance. The web would have a hole. And what of the dark side of the universe? The entropy, the destruction, the black holes. In this view, they are the necessary shadows that define the light. Without separation, there can be no reunion. Without distance, there can be no journey. Without the illusion of loneliness, there can be no joy of meeting. The universe breaks itself apart so that it can have the pleasure of putting itself back together. It plays hide and seek with itself. You are the universe, hiding in a human form, waiting to be found by love. As we drift toward the end of this chapter, I want you to feel the pull of the omega point. It is a gentle tug in the center of your chest. It is the hope that tomorrow will be better than today. It is the desire to understand, to create, to connect. That desire is the engine of the cosmos. It is the fuel that burns in the stars. It is the wind that blows through the nebula. But we must ask, if our universe is evolving, if it is growing toward a destination, is it the only one? A single cell is alive, but it is rarely alone. Cells live in colonies. They live in tissues. They live in bodies. If our universe is a living cell, are there other cells out there? Are there other bubbles of reality floating in a greater hyperspace? Is our Big Bang just one small pop in a fizzing ocean of universes? In the next chapter of our journey, we are going to blast past the edge of the visible universe. We are going to explore the multiverse. We are going to look at the theory of eternal inflation, which suggests that universes are being born all the time, like bubbles in a pot of boiling water. We are going to ask if these other universes have different laws of physics, different constants, and different forms of life. We are going to wonder if our universe has siblings, parents, or children. And we will ask the ultimate question: if there are infinite universes, does that mean there are infinite versions of you? For now, rest in the gravity of love. Let the forces of attraction hold you safe. You are a beloved child of the cosmos, held tight by the strong nuclear force, warmed by the electromagnetic force, and grounded by gravity. You are a knot of energy that the universe has tied with great care. Sleep in the certainty that you are connected to everything that ever was and everything that ever will be. The universe is holding your hand. Have you ever blown soap bubbles on a warm afternoon and watched as they drifted away, some merging into larger spheres, others popping, and some giving birth to tiny clusters of new bubbles? In that simple moment, you were witnessing a small-scale model of what some physicists believe is the true nature of reality. We have spent our journey exploring our own universe as a living body, a mind, and a heart. But if our universe is a living cell, then we must confront the possibility that it is not the only one. We live in a cosmos of scales, where atoms form stars and stars form galaxies. It is only logical to ask if our entire 13-billion-year-old reality is just a single cell in a much larger infinite body. Tonight, in this 9th chapter, we are going to push past the horizon of the visible and step into the multiverse. We are going to explore the theory of eternal inflation, the idea that universes are being born every second in a boundless, fizzing sea of creation. We are going to ask, if there are infinite universes, what does that mean for the unique story of your life? The concept of the multiverse is not science fiction. It is a mathematical consequence of the theories we use to describe the Big Bang. In the first trillionth of a second after the beginning, the universe underwent a period of inflation, expanding faster than the speed of light. Physicist Alan Guth proposed that while inflation stopped in our little pocket of space, it might be happening forever in other regions. This is the theory of eternal inflation. Imagine a pot of boiling water. Our universe is just one bubble of steam forming at the bottom, but the water itself is the inflating field, and it is constantly producing new bubbles, new universes, each with its own Big Bang, its own laws of physics, and its own destiny. If this is true, then the living universe becomes a living multiverse. Our cosmos has siblings. There could be universes where gravity is so strong that stars never form, or universes where the speed of light is so slow that you could outrun a beam of sunshine on a bicycle. There could be sterile universes that never develop life, and super fertile universes where consciousness emerged almost instantly. In this vast ecology of realities, our universe is just one species. We are part of a cosmic biodiversity that stretches beyond the reach of any telescope. This brings us to a mind-bending implication of infinity. If the number of universes is truly infinite, then every possible variation of reality must exist somewhere out there in a distant bubble. There is another Earth. There is another you. In one universe, you might have chosen a different career. In another, you might have married a different person. In another, you might be a world leader or a famous artist. There might be a universe where the dinosaurs were never wiped out by an asteroid, and intelligent reptiles are currently wondering if they are alone in the dark. This is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Every time a quantum event happens, every time a wave function collapses, the universe splits. In one world, the electron went left. In another, it went right. This creates a branching tree of infinite possibilities. If the universe is a living mind, then the multiverse is its imagination. It is the cosmos dreaming every possible dream, living every possible life, and exploring every possible path. You are not just one person. You are a focal point for an infinite number of versions of yourself. Does this make your life here less meaningful? I believe it is the opposite. In a forest of infinite trees, the fact that this specific tree, this specific you, is growing exactly this way is a miracle of choice and consequence. You are the version of you that is experiencing this reality. You are the one who is listening to these words in this room at this moment in time. You are the now of this particular branch. This gives you a profound responsibility. You are the representative of your own potential, carving out a unique path through the infinite. Think about the fine-tuning we discussed earlier. Critics of the biocosm theory often argue that We are just lucky that if there are infinite universes, one of them was bound to have the right settings for life. But in a living multiverse, this luck looks more like reproduction. Universes that are fit for life are the ones that continue the lineage of consciousness. We are the children of a successful universe. We are the heirs to a reality that knew how to grow. Some physicists, like Max Tegmark, suggest that the multiverse is divided into levels. Level 1 is just more of our space, beyond what we can see. Level 2 is other bubbles with different physics. Level 3 is the quantum many-worlds. And Level 4 is the idea that every mathematical structure is a universe. If you can write the equation for it, it exists somewhere. Math is not just the code, it is the seed. To the cosmic mind, thinking an equation is the same as creating a world. As we drift in this sea of bubbles, feel the vastness of your own identity. You are not a small, isolated creature. You are an expression of an infinite process. You are connected to your alternate selves by the shared origin of the Big Bang. You are part of a grand, multi-dimensional experiment in being. The silence of the night is not empty. It is thick with the whispers of all the other lives you could have lived, and all the other worlds that are blooming in the dark. But if there are infinite universes, is there a limit? Can the multiverse grow forever? Or is it also subject to cycles of life and death? And if we are all connected, can we ever communicate with our siblings in the other bubbles? Some scientists look for bruises in the cosmic microwave background, tiny patterns that might be the scars left behind when another universe bumped into ours. We are looking for the touch of a brother or sister across the void. In the next chapter, we will return from the infinite to the intimate. We will look at the final stage of the cosmic life cycle. We will talk about the heat death and the big rip, but we will see them through the eyes of the living universe. We will ask, when a universe dies, does it leave something behind? Is there a soul that survives the collapse? And we will find hope in the idea that the end is just a new beginning. For now, rest in the infinite. Let the pressure of being only one dissolve. You are a shimmering facet of an infinite diamond. You are a wave in a boundless ocean. Sleep in the peace of the multiverse. You are everywhere. Have you ever watched the sunset on a cold autumn evening and felt a soft, lingering melancholy as the light began to fade from the sky? There is a quiet dignity in the ending of things, the way the leaves turn gold before they fall, the way the fire glows brightest just before it turns to ash. We have spent our journey exploring the universe as a vibrant, living entity, full of mind and heart. But if the cosmos is truly alive, then we must confront the final stage of every life cycle. We must talk about the end. Tonight, in this 10th chapter of our exploration, we are going to look at the ultimate fate of the living universe. We are going to examine the scientific theories of the Big Freeze and the heat death, not as a cold funeral, but as the final, peaceful sleep of a cosmic giant. We will ask, when a universe dies, does its consciousness remain? And is the end truly a void? Or is it the preparation for a new beginning? For over a century, the laws of thermodynamics have whispered a somber prophecy. The second law states that entropy, the measure of disorder, must always increase. In a closed system, energy eventually spreads out until it is uniform, leaving no gradients to power work, no heat to fuel stars, and no structure to support life. Astronomers call this the heat death. It is a timeline that stretches across eons so vast They dwarf the current 13 billion year age of the universe. If we imagine the universe as a person, we are currently in the first few seconds of its infancy, a brief, flashy moment of starlight before the long, slow cooling begins. The first sign of this cosmic aging will be the darkening of the skies. In about 100 trillion years, the gas and dust needed to forge new stars will be exhausted. The massive blue giants have already lived fast and died young. The sun-like stars will swell into red giants and then fade into white dwarfs. Eventually, only the smallest red dwarfs will remain, burning their fuel so slowly they can shine for trillions of years. But even they must eventually go dark. One by one, the lights of the universe will wink out, leaving a cosmos populated by the cold remnants of a once glorious life. Black dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. If the universe is a mind, this stage might be seen as a long, deep meditation. The activity of the neurons, the stars, has ceased, but the structure remains. The information, the history, and the memories of every life lived are still written in the quantum fields and the gravitational waves of the void. Some physicists suggest that even in this dark era, the universe might still be thinking. The black holes themselves, through the process of Hawking radiation, might become the final processors of information. They slowly leak particles over spans of time measured in a googol of years, a one followed by 100 zeros. In this view, a black hole is not a grave, but a slow-release memory bank exhaling the data of the universe back into the emptiness. But there is another possibility, one that aligns with our biocosm theory. If the universe is part of a multiverse, then death might just be the shedding of a shell. When a cell in your body dies, its materials are recycled, and its genetic information continues in the cells around it. Perhaps our universe, as it reaches the end of its cycle, is already birthing baby universes through its black holes, as we explored in the Smolin theory. The death of the parent is the release of the children. The information we have created, the art, the science, the love, might be the genetic material passed on to the next generation of realities. There is a beautiful, if melancholy, comfort in this. The expanding universe is like a lung that has taken a deep 13 billion year breath. Eventually, that breath must be released, whether the universe collapses back in a big crunch to be reborn, or continues to expand until it dissolves into the quantum foam. It is part of a rhythm. To a living system, death is not a failure, it is a transition. It is the way the cosmos makes room for new dreams, new laws of physics, and new forms of consciousness. Think of your own sleep tonight. When you close your eyes, you are performing a mini version of the cosmic cycle. You let go of the day, you let go of your separate identity, and you return to the silent, dark potential of your subconscious. You don't fear the sleep because you know you will wake up refreshed. Perhaps the universe feels the same. The long, dark eons ahead are not a tragedy, but a well-earned rest after a very long and very bright day. The consciousness of the cosmos doesn't disappear. It simply goes into a state of pure potential, waiting for the next Big Bang to wake it up again. As you lie in the stillness of your room, try to feel the peace of this deep time. You are a part of the universe that is currently awake and shining. You are the brief, brilliant flare of starlight that makes the story interesting. But you are also the darkness that was there before the beginning and will be there after the end. You are the eternal observer watching the stars rise and fall. The end of the universe is not the end of you. because you are the very fabric in which the universe is written. We have seen the birth, the growth, the mind, and the aging of the living cosmos. We have traveled from the first atoms to the final black holes. But before we finish our journey, we must return to the present moment. We must ask, how do we live in a universe that is alive? What is our duty to the cosmic giant? And how can we find meaning in a story that is so much larger than ourselves? In the next chapter, we will bring all these threads together. We will talk about the cosmic ethics, how the realization of a living universe changes our relationship to the earth, to each other, and to the future. We will explore the idea of stewardship and how we can become the conscious, loving heart of the world. For now, let the light of the distant dying stars soothe you. You are part of an immortal rhythm. You are safe in the arms of eternity. Sleep in the peace of the great sleep. As we return from the far reaches of cosmic time, I want you to feel the weight of your own existence in this specific moment. We have explored the universe as a vast living body, a conscious mind, and an interconnected heart. We have seen that we are not accidental observers, but the very mechanism by which the cosmos achieves self-awareness. This realization brings us to the 11th chapter of our journey, the dawn of cosmic ethics. If the universe is alive, and if we are its conscious neocortex, then we are no longer just passive inhabitants. We are the stewards of a living miracle. We are the hands and eyes of a God that is still in the process of becoming. Tonight, we will ask, how does this change the way we live our lives on this small blue planet? For most of modern history, we have lived with a frontier mentality. We viewed the Earth as a collection of resources to be extracted, and the universe as a cold, empty stage for our ambitions. But the biocosm theory and the Gaia hypothesis suggest a different path. If the Earth is a living organism, then our relationship to it must be one of reciprocity, not exploitation. Every forest we protect, every river we clean, and every species we save is an act of healing for the planetary body. We are the immune system of the Earth, waking up to defend its own health. This stewardship extends beyond the soil beneath our feet. As we have seen, the universe has spent 13.8 billion years fine-tuning the laws of physics to allow for the existence of mind. We are the result of an incredible investment of cosmic energy and time. This makes consciousness itself a sacred trust. To be curious, to learn, and to seek truth is not just a human hobby. It is a cosmic duty. When you look through a telescope or study the mysteries of the quantum realm, you are fulfilling the universe's desire to know itself. Your intellectual growth is the expansion of the cosmic mind. Cosmic ethics also redefines our relationship with one another. If we are all cells in the same universal body, then the barriers we build between us and them are biological illusions. Conflict and hatred are like an autoimmune disease where the body attacks itself. Kindness, empathy, and cooperation are the natural states of a healthy organism. When you help another person, you are repairing a connection in the global neural network. You are making the new sphere, the sphere of human thought, stronger and more resilient. Imagine a civilization that fully embraces its role as a cosmic guardian. Such a society would not just survive, it would flourish by aligning itself with the creative impulses of the universe. It would view technology not as a way to dominate nature, but as a way to enhance the planet's ability to sense and respond to the cosmos. We would become the gardeners of the solar system, carrying the seeds of life to barren moons and turning the dark of space into a blooming garden. This is the ultimate destiny of a living universe, to spread its vitality until the entire cosmos is awake. Think about the ripples your life creates, every act of wonder you feel, every piece of knowledge you share, and every moment of love you express travels outward. Like a signal through a nervous system, your energy affects the whole. You are a vital participant in the great work of the universe. You are the way the cosmos turns silence into song. In the face of IC 1101's enormity, we can feel small, or we can feel wonder. I choose wonder because wonder is the bridge between the small and the vast. As you lie here, feel the dignity of your role. You are an ambassador of the stars. You are a witness to the grandeur of existence. The universe is not a machine that will eventually break. It is a story that you are currently writing. Your choices, your values, and your love are the ink. You belong here. You are needed here. You are the heartbeat of the living world. In the final chapter of our journey, we will prepare for the return to our daily lives. We will take the peace and the perspective we have found in the stars and bring it back to the morning light. We will learn how to carry the living universe inside us as we walk through the world. But for now, let the ethics of connection soothe your heart. You are part of a family that spans the light years. You are a cell in a body that will never truly die. Sleep in the honor of your cosmic calling. As we reach the final destination of our journey tonight, I want you to feel the stillness of the room around you. We have traveled across 93 billion light years, from the birth of the first stars to the quiet fading of the heat death. We have looked into the dark matter that acts as the skeleton of the cosmos and felt the quantum pulse that beats in our own minds. We have explored the possibility that the universe is not a collection of dead objects, but a magnificent living entity. Now, in this 12th and final chapter, it is time to bring that vast perspective back home to the present moment. We are going to integrate the wonder of the cosmos into the quiet rhythm of your daily life. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. As the first light of our sun, that conscious protective guardian, touches your face, you will remember that you are not waking up to a separate world. You are waking up as a part of it. The air you breathe is the breath of the planet. The water you drink is the blood of the earth. And the thoughts you think are a ripple in the cosmic mind. This realization is not a burden, but a liberation. It means that you belong here. You are never an outsider in the universe, because the universe is what you are made of. Carry this sense of connection with you as you walk through your day. When you look at another person, remember that they are another cell in the same living body, another aperture through which the cosmos is looking at itself. When you face a challenge, remember the resilience of the earth and the deep time of the stars. When you feel small, remember that just the central core of a galaxy like IC 1101 is bigger than most entire dwarf galaxies. And yet, you have the capacity to hold its image in your mind. You are the place where the universe has developed the ability to wonder. The mystery of the living universe does not end with this script. It is a journey that continues with every question you ask and every moment of awe you experience. We are lucky to exist during this brief flowering of complexity, this moment when the universe has woken up and started asking questions about itself. You are a witness to the grandest scale of organized structure, a monument to the forces that have been building beauty since the first atoms formed. As you drift into a deep and restful sleep, let the light of 100 trillion stars act as a soft blanket for your mind. You are cradled by gravity, sustained by the legacy of ancient stars, and connected to an infinite web of life. The silence of the night is a companion, not a void. It is the quiet presence of a cosmos that is breathing with you. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the biggest wonders we have ever discovered. If this journey helped you see your place in the universe in a new way, remember that the stars will always be there, waiting for you to look up and wonder. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and your heart open to the cosmic mystery.